Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. How is everybody doing today? Hot and humid from New York. Matt, what's up, bud? I'm enjoying the episodes. Thank you. Yeah, this is fun. I cannot lie. Machine Head, greetings from South America. What part, Machine Head? I think I know, but I forgot. Chile, maybe? Let's see. R2 Laumi? Which team do you guys think will win? Yeah, you got Euro. That's a big deal. Looks like Cab could do it. Dude, that Mike, that was another special race yesterday. And I haven't seen today's. Don't anybody say anything about today's? We got Mont Ventoux, I think twice, whatever they're doing. Crazy organizers. I know some buddies texted me that it was a good stage today. So the Tour de France doing great. Rene from Spain. Hola, amigo. He is out in the Middle East. Okay, so Rene, I don't know if you can tell me, but if you're on a rig, or are you in the military or whatever, like on a boat? Because I'm thinking Armageddon, Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck. That's what I got in my head. But thank you. Yeah, we're trying to incorporate the teachings in the books with what we're trying to do and all that. So for sure. Yeah. Clinton, welcome, my friend. Okay, gotcha. Clinton's starting us off. How do you, Mike Rinaldi, show fresh bare metal wear on running surfaces? For example, road wheel edges, wearing against track guides, etc. The easiest way, Clinton, is graphite pencil. This little dude. I tend to lean on graphite more than the metal paints, but I know Gunzi also makes the polishing paints or the burnishable paints. Yushi, I don't know if he's still making those, but they had a graphite powder. There's a number of various little things, but what I do is I'll do all of that at the very end, and we'll do some track episodes, maybe even as soon as next stream, but definitely by next week we'll be doing some track stuff. But that's graphite usually what I do. If it's a metal track like a Fruel model or whatever, sanding stick, get it all done, do the whole thing, get everything weathered all the way through on the tracks. And then do a little touch of a little sanding stick action here. Take one of these little Jimmy rigs and just sand right over, and it'll bring that bright metal back. That's actually my favorite. I love doing that. I have so much fun with that. So hopefully that helps. Rosso Moscow, what's up? I gotta figure out. I gotta start learning some Russian so I can say hello to you in your native language. Rims model, welcome back from a wet Birmingham. Yeah, we are gray, cloudy, overcast Portland, which is fine. I don't mind a little break. Sylvain, welcome. Yay, you're finally here, buddy. Canadian, yeah. Franz. Wow, okay, there's a fella in the chat, boys. Franz Nuciano. I don't know how to say your last name. I apologize. I'm sure you have that. Everybody says the same thing to you. How do you say your last name? One of the top Gunpla modelers is in stream with us. Franz, welcome, my friend. Thank you. Brian, hey, Mike. Thanks for doing these. Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, we're going with a hat today, buddy. I'm a little like shiny today. You know what I mean? Like I'm like a little like I took a shower and it's a weird weather. I don't know. And this is real lightweight. This is a cotton one. I love it. It's my favorite. Yeah, Cavendish. If you guys aren't watching the Tour de France, dude, it is an epic race this year. Multiple storylines. Because, Tadej, if he's going to pull this whole thing, and I don't know, so don't say anything. But anyway, Jeremy, hello from Canada. Bryce, welcome. Bonsoir. Is it 9 p.m. in France? 8 p.m., 9 p.m.? Yeah, Clinton, it's powders, graphite, you'll be great, buddy. And if, like I said, if it's a metal track, you can just sand them. Perfect. But I don't do any like special painting beforehand on a metal track in terms of getting like a high polished finish of an exposed surface or wear and tear. Even the running pads on the tracks, like where the road wheels are cleaning them down the interior, I'll even do a little pencil bit. You can even mask and do a couple little things. It's pretty, but we'll do some stuff. Michael Koff, hey, another Michael from Nevada. Pahrump, yeah, I lived in Summerlin for a little while, brother. I couldn't handle it. Got myself out of Vegas. But anyway, yeah, John Barnacote, thank you, welcome. R2, hello from Finland. Yes, some of the best times ever. And those of you that have been, if you know, you know. You hang out with the Finns, the Norwegians, the Swedes, the Danes, all the Nordic crew. all those guys, the funnest guys to hang out with at the model shows. They suck model builders. I don't know what they think they're doing, but they're a lot of fun. Wayne, welcome. James Lynn, hello from Toronto. Welcome. Thank you guys. MGK, hello. Thank you for the tips. Great episodes. Thank you guys. Yeah, what is this, episode 5? Right on. Appreciate it. Privet, Russ. Thank you. Yeah, 9 p.m. exactly. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to be on point with these. I'm trying not to run late or anything in terms of my schedule. And if it's going to be, I will say, if I'm going to have a problem with the stream and I can't start on the time I said, go to Instagram because I'll put up another story. That'll be the fastest way to reach you guys. Prague is calling. I got to go. I'm coming. I'm on the way. See you guys. Raining for 3 days straight. Invalid to live. Welcome again. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, welcome. What I always say, nod. I'm just calling it. There's a couple nods. There's a couple of you guys with the names in here. Christian, I see you. Thank you. Welcome. Good to see you, bud. I missed you last time. I don't know if you popped in the stream last time. I did mention you a little bit. We were talking a little bit of aircraft stuff in episode 4, but welcome. Yeah, Christian Jacobs, really good aircraft model, joining us today. No aircraft today, but what do we got here? That's a foot. That's a Gundam foot. So Franz and some of you guys in the stream, this will be kind of the first 10-15 minutes. I really like to say hello, see what's up, see what everybody's doing. Thank you, Rick. Okay, I can't wait I'm gonna do like a 10-minute stream and then I'm gonna go watch the tour. So you guys can F off. And if you guys have a question, if you don't know, I mentioned this last time, and this is really great for me because I don't have a moderator or any sort of prompts. Write the word question in all capitals and then ask your question after that, and I'll catch it in the chat. Some of you guys, it gets going pretty fast and I have to like scroll up back and forth to see what's going on. So yeah. No, it's okay, Sylvain. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Don't worry about it. Some of this tech stuff, dude, it's a little bit of a problem. Actually, let me grab this real quick because we'll start with this. Hold on. Because I mentioned it last week. So the other camera showed up, and unfortunately, wasn't what I was hoping for. Now, it's not the end of the world. I'm looking for kind of, you camera dudes out there, and you know this. I'd like to do a mirrorless system in terms of size with the Sony E-mounts. And I actually did all my research through all the brands, and I'm a Nikon guy for the books. But I think the Sony E-mount lenses, let's switch the little thingy here. Enough of my mugshot. So this is the NEX 5T, and I got this cheap off of eBay. These are less than $200. I think this was $150 with the lens, and this is a 1650. Shoots great video. What I'm trying to do with it, and this is where you have to hack it a little bit, and it didn't work out. I didn't do enough research. I'm trying to use this as a webcam, which is through the live feed view. With an HDMI cable set up and an HDMI capture card into the computer as a thing. The problem is it's got all the little menu items stuck on screen. It's a pain to use, and also, which sucked really hard. This is a great lens, beautiful lens. When it does that setup, the quality drops hard. So the iPhone wins for now. So we're gonna stick with the iPhone. All that good stuff. So we're going to start today, but anyway, I'm going to use this for video. When I do the edited videos, I'll use this guy and I'll save it. The point of it really for me was starting to build my lens portfolio up with the Sony E-mounts. They're a little bit cheaper than some of the other big dogs, Canon and Nikon, and I'm still kind of gonna, I'll solve it. Don't worry about that, but the newer Sonys like the A6100, 63, 64, they're a lot more money, but they do what I needed to do. That's a 2013 camera, so it just doesn't have the software, it doesn't have the drivers for the Mac. In fact, you can't even download the drivers for the Mac anymore with that camera. So I was kind of frustrated yesterday, but it's okay. It's still usable, but we'll use it. But anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. We doing decals in one of these episodes. Gould, I don't know if it's going to be today, but yes. Probably Sunday. And I have a number of decal stuff set up. We're going to be doing some priming. I'm going to get into markings. We're going to do spray mask markings, tape markings, masking, stuff like that. And then decals, varnish, clear coats, all that lovely fun stuff that we love to do. Conan Mills, welcome. Question, with Gundam's tight tolerances, how do you go about doing primer? We're gonna do that right now, brother, in about 5-10 minutes here. But no problem, Christian. I understand everybody's busy, and yeah, there's getting a lot of comments about the time frame. I'm gonna try to do a night stream soon, night West Coast US, which will probably mean the Asia guys will have a better shot. East Coast will probably be like a 9-10 p.m. slot. Maybe Europe, it's just too late for you guys. I'm not really sure. There's no magic time, and because I know some guys have to work. Like right now, they're working. It's what I think is especially the U.S. As our vaccinations go up, we're really getting back into the swing of things. So I know a lot of guys are back in the office and all that stuff. They're not at home. But I'll try to jostle up a little bit. This was the first 4 or 5 episodes are really for me to get comfortable, and I think it's going well. You guys seem to be enjoying this, so and me too. But anyway, yeah. So we're gonna do that, Conan, without throwing out the fit and assembly. Sometimes, okay. So to that point, Conan, though, because I come from a kind of a different perspective than say you and Franz and some of these other hardcore guys in here in the thing, and you guys have your own processes, and I'm still catching up to you guys. Understand that part, especially clean builders, where they don't weather. The tolerances though for posing is like we're going to do an old RE100 kit. I'm guessing this thing is probably was assembled 10 years ago, and I've started to take it apart again. It's the one in the photos I'm using. It was a test model. I guess I got off of eBay, built up, and then I primed it and took it for just kind of like weathering on a robot idea. But we're gonna back this one up, and we're gonna do some stuff with this GP04 as kind of a what did I think of it today? We're calling it the RSP rebuilds. That's what we're doing. So there's kind of a trash to treasure motif or an old to gold, where we're gonna take some of these projects I discussed last week, and just kind of do stream stuff with them, but in a real case scenario, like okay, this is the project, this is what we're doing, and we'll push it all the way through. Some might take a while, some might take a long time, so we'll see. Conan, oh no, I'm a noob. So am I, man. We're all noobs here. Don't worry about it. Question, James Lynn, what thinner would you recommend for oil paints that pose the least amount of health? The odorless thinners? If you have hyper concerns where you want to move outside of the solvent-based conversation, I do believe the water-based oil paints, apologize for the sirens if you hear them. I think the water-based oil paints, don't quote me on this, and maybe I'll do a little bit more research because I don't use them. They have a special thinner that's even less caustic and all that kind of stuff. But the odorless thinners they're high quality. The amount you use is so small that the health risks are so. I mean, they're hyper minimal. I mean, you'd have to literally drink it, that kind of a thing. So, but anyway, we will be doing oils a little bit later today. No pigments today. I had enough of the mess for one day. But yeah. So at least I don't think there's any pigments unless you guys absolutely need to see something. But okay, question, John Adams. Well, that's a great name. I started watching, not sidebar, started watching like 20 minutes of the America the movie on Netflix, the anime. Oh my god, dude. Whew. Anyway, what are the benefits of airbrushing primer as opposed to a high quality rattle can primer like to me? Okay, so that's going to segue into us. Give me a few seconds, John, to say hello again to everybody. Get caught up, and then we'll talk about airbrushing primers, aerosol primers, what I use now, the stuff here, and there's other to people that are concerned about. And again, I think I posted this in the descriptions and or commentary. I forget where it was on Instagram or whatever. I've got tons of experience with solvent-based products. Ask the questions. Don't be shy. I'm a water-based guy now, but that's just me. It's not a like you have to, but if you're going to do what you do and you need to like have kind of a brand correlation, then just please ask it in the thing. I've probably used it. The only paints I haven't used to any major degree would be the Ammo brand, simply because I went from AK to something else before that all happened, and I just wasn't going to go back and restock on another brand because I already had, I think Mission Models was coming out, and I was already kind of going down another path. So I don't have a ton of like hands-on with the ammo paints, but they're essentially all kind of the same in terms of that conversation. So, but anyway, we'll get to that, John, real quick. So what else we got here? But everybody's good, having a good week. Good 4th of July. Okay, looks like we're caught up. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with today is some priming. So what I've got here, and this is kind of one of these cool little things that if you're not familiar, pull this guy, I've got mag, oops, that actually looks pretty good. These are one of these little, it's cheap, I'll tell you that much right now. So one of these little guys here, You guys in the Gunpla world already, the camera, they're so funny, dude. Okay, here we go, let's pull that back a little bit. Okay, so this little base here, they come with these little alligator clip holders, and then you put your parts on them, and these are little part holders for painting. They're actually pretty handy. You know, I never really used them in the military side, to be honest with you guys, and they've been around a long time. You get them on eBay for, you know, 10 bucks. Oops. But what you do basically is you're just gonna attach your part to kind of a non-threatening area where you don't need to worry about it here. Let's find a spot here. You're ready to spray basically, and then when you dry, when you're finished with it, you just put it over in the little thingy, the little tray there to hold it. So those are pretty cool. I'm new to those personally. I never really use that stuff. I've kind of, my method has always been, if I'm doing painting in parts, small parts across the board, is I just get old scrap cardboard and double-sided tape, and I just kind of, you know, like spray the whole thing. So that's kind of my old way, and that's probably just being lazy. Got to get the fancy tools, right? All right, Wayne's on vacation. I'm jealous. That's nice. Okay. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to start with some priming, and the Mission Models primer, if you're unaware, this is a water-based system, and it uses the thinner catalyzes the primer. It's a two-part system for the primer. About 10 to 15% thinner. It doesn't take much, even though it's a little bit thick in the bottle. So say if it's, you know, 10 drops, you know, you're putting 1 or 2 drops of thinner in that, you know, 20 drops. And these all have eyedroppers, so you can measure these out, which is pretty cool. But so do Vallejo and some of the other brands too. So it's a pretty cool, cat scratching pads. You know, they're super like, you know, cardboard where you can, you know, guys will cut the cardboard up, end up, so you can put the little stuff. I would actually, these little holes are a little tight. I will say it's a little bit kind of, I put magnet, my table's, this thing's metal, CB2. It's the go-kart desk system, really cool. I love them. So I put little magnets on the base of this stuff so this doesn't tip over easily. That's how I get away with this stuff. But anyway, yeah, the cardboard, the cat scratching pads, but that whole concept, and you can buy these in bulk. You can buy these, you know, and they have like the bamboo stick style ones. I got black because I'm like super anal about my colors. It's all that. But it's no big deal. But yeah, they come and they're on eBay they're all over the place. Yeah, these are great stuff. Yeah, the styrofoam pads, all sorts of cool stuff. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get some mixing stuff going here. So I'm going to use the gray primer. Gray primer is usually my go-to. It's that way. But in today's world, I did grab a few other ones. And I'm going to drop a nugget on the Gunpla, guys, right in about 5 seconds. You guys are going to love this. Okay, so in primers now we have tan primers. We have here's a German red oxide primer for the World War II dudes. Gray primer is kind of my go-to. I like to, couple reasons for the priming. Okay, so I'm a primer, Optimus Prime. I prime everything. I don't even have the argument anymore. I don't even care. You guys do what you do. I prime. The reason I prime, so I can see the damn shit. Sees me the surface detail. This corrects all your mistakes. This gives you that second chance to solve everything before you go to paint. On high-end modeling, it's important. It also provides better adhesion with the paint. It's a chemical bonding system. It's designed that way. And that's most how all primers work, is to really increase the adhesion of the paint. Because I do a lot of stuff to the paint in terms of chipping and stuff like that, the primers are also extra security. And the thing I've always said in terms of advice is I've never had a painting problem because I primed. I've had painting problems because I've not primed. So I just prime. It's cheap insurance. It's no big deal. It's the one extra step I actually just go, okay, I'm gonna do it. The clear coat varnish conversation, we'll have it a little bit further down the road, but I tend to take that as it comes. If I have to cross a clear coat bridge and that's the only way around the ravine, then I'll do it. Usually I avoid it. And a couple guys asked in comments earlier this week about all that stuff too. So we'll get into that more, especially with the decal conversation and markings and stuff like that. And again, I'm not saying any of this stuff that I do to be argumentative. This is just what I do. It's why I do it. You're welcome to hang out and do it. If not, don't worry about it. But I will say though, if you're running water-based or any kind of non-solvent-based acrylic system and you're going on the raw plastic, chances are good you're probably going to have more problems than not down the road on a more routine basis. I've just found, truthfully told, I can't remember the last time I had a problem because I primed the model, I painted it, and I had paint problems in terms of adhesion or the quality of the paint job. So I just prime. That's that. The poly is right here, my friend. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do poly today. And I'll explain this here in a second where we're going with all of this. Because I have to think this through like a project. So Sylvain asked a question. You didn't mention about the poly. Do you use any? I do specifically. So we had this conversation in a previous stream. The polyurethane additive with the mission models conversation, and I don't want to get too hard up on talking about this too much, but the polyurethane, what it does really is it strengthens the coat. So if you need a durable coat, and this is good for gunpla guys that maybe want to switch from lacquers into water-based, what the poly does really will give you it's a self-leveler, so you're going to get a finer finish on that, which is for clean builders. You're going to want that. Aircraft builders, anything civilian that really need like a hyper nice finish. This is a self-leveler. It adds a little bit of like an eggshell or a satiny sheen to it. So these are all matte paints, so it does kind of incorporate it into it. And sidebar, oftentimes if I want a satin finish in my paint, one of the tricks I do now versus applying it on top is similar to what this poly does, is put it in the paint. Put a few drops of satin of the same brand in the paint you're using. If you have a matte but you want a certain finish, a certain sheen, put it in the paint. You'll find you'll get a little bit more realistic result. It won't have quite the toilet quality, if that makes sense. And when I prime, yeah, there's no poly that goes in the primer, anything like that, but because the question came up, Sylvain asked about the poly, threw that in there. Yeah, and Conan, when you paint, anything I paint, it's almost anything I paint. Almost never, ever, I can't even remember a time where I paint raw resin, plastic, metal, etc. I prime everything. Yeah, you're fine, Sylvain, no worries. I got your word. I'm able to figure that out. I know you're not talking about a mansion. None of us are. But anyway. So, one thing before I start spraying, and this is gonna be coming up. I should have wrote this down. There's a fellow doing this on Instagram in a slightly different process. I've been talking about this for a little while between myself and a few other people, and I haven't instigated it yet, but I do want to give credit to the gentleman doing it right now. I want to say it's High Arc Foundry on Instagram, high_arc, ARC_foundry. I think that's his name on Instagram. I think he's in Southern California, and he's been doing a sanded gunpla and just putting panel lines on that or weathering directly onto the raw plastic that I sand. And the reason I thought this was really interesting, I'm going to get into this, what this is a Mission Models clear primer. Let me zoom in, there we go. See, that's the only thing with the iPhone is its zoom is not on point. I tested that Sony did, the zoom was like, I was like, oh, that's so good, but the quality was so grainy through the HDMI capture card, so I'll figure that. But anyway, clear primer. So what, in the Bandai conversation world for the military guys, they provide all the kits in the colored plastics of what the actual, they say canon, but the actual story arc of the stories, they come in the colors of the actual machines. All the plastic parts, most of them do. So he was doing this where he was sanding the plastic and then weathering directly on it. What I've also gonna try, and we're gonna do this in a future thing, I think we're gonna do this with some Mechatro Egos, the Hasegawa kits. This clear primer, we're gonna clear primer bare plastic, and then we're gonna start weathering. And I think that's gonna be a fun little thing. But when this came up through a couple years ago, when I saw the clear primer come through, I had a little registration. I started it when I finished up the Sotheby book, the SMO3 book. And I was like, that's a pretty cool idea. So anyway, let's get into it. I do tend to talk a lot, so just tell me to spray if you guys are getting impatient. Be nice, don't be a dick, but keep me going. Okay. So we're only gonna prime a little bit. I'm just gonna show you the process. We're not gonna get crazy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do for streaming. So look, guys, juicing up. 7, 8, 9, 10. That way I know as I talk, I remember it's an easy number to remember. Real quick, anytime I haven't used a bottle of paint in a while, doesn't matter the brand. This is from IKEA. This is one of those coffee latte frother doohickeys. What I do is I took some wire cutters. Let me see if I can get that to zoom in there. Yeah, and I've just trimmed that down so it fits in the holes of all the bottles. And then if it's a bottle I haven't used in a while, and you can see I've got a little shelf of love back there. That's my little paint rack shelf. So some of these colors you just never use sometimes, or you use them once and you don't use them for 6 months. So it's always good no matter what you do. I do a quick direct stir, is what I like to do. And then because these have the primer's a little bit thick. Come on, baby. There it goes. They all have the little mixer bottle. They have the tan primer. I don't think I've actually ever sprayed the tan primer yet. And I mixed it up already once. It's thick in there. But the regular paints, they all have the little dropper thing in there. Question, does Mission Models primer stick to photo etch? Okay, yes, absolutely. It sticks to everything. Their primer's great. I don't even know what the problem people have with the primer. The only thing with the primer that you guys have to adhere to is their thinner, and I don't know the chemical inside of it because I'm not a chemist per se, but it does catalyze the primer, which means when it cures, it binds and cures as a primer on the surface of the model. I ran multiple tests before I even jumped into talking about Mission Models years and years ago, and I remember my first initial test, and even with the SMO3 book with the black primer stages with the Sosby, dude, I couldn't scratch this shit at all. Like it's great, and we'll do this here, which I need to get going. Okay, so we have 10 drops of primer in the thing. It's a proportional ratio, about 10-15%. Again, like I showed last time, try to get that bottle vertical. That vacuum will seal that up there. 1, 2, there you go. I'll put one more. Those are small drops. My cap's a little bit, I'm thinking, yeah, there you go. So today I've got a little, over on the side here, I've got a little catch cup for the dirty paint. I got a little water bin. I was unprepared last week, I apologize. It wasn't last week. It's a little on the thick side for me. I'm gonna put a little bit more in that. I tend to go personally for myself in a 20 to 30% ratio with mixing anything. Even Vallejo Model Air. But I do like the capper system, all the paint companies that start using the bottle dropper capper. There we go. Okay. Hopefully that's zoomed in good. Okay, and I've got a little bit more paper towels today and stuff like this because we're not spraying on the little roundabout thing. So I've got my little Iwata Airbrush HPC here. My MAC valve is, so left down here is fully open. I'm at about 12 to 13 PSI down in my compressor setting, down below the table there. My MAC valve is mostly open. This is the biggest airbrush I have, and you're gonna want your bigger needles for priming. This is the beauty of live streaming airbrushing. You guys see that okay? Okay. It's probably just a hair thick for me. But see, I'm not a continuous, I don't like to hold the needle down myself. One, it fatigues your finger over a long period of time. And you're gonna get a night. I find personally, now experienced guys, you know, there's kind of conversations happening here. Also, this is water based. This is more or less non-toxic. I mean, I wouldn't drink this stuff or anything like that, but this is, you know, I don't need a mask. I don't need a ventilator. My windows probably be a little bit cracked, but there's a little bit of a smell, and that their thinner has just a slight odor, but it's very similar to all the other kind of acrylic thinners in terms of the smell, and it goes away quite quickly. So you can see probably a 0.5 would be a little bit better for priming, and I've got that coming. Okay, John, I forgot your question. Okay, John Adams, if you're in, I think that was you asked that. Okay, so while I'm doing this, it's actually kind of nice. Now these little clip things. Making sure we're doing a good job here. Okay, so airbrushing primer versus the aerosol. So it's drying a little bit on the tip. Fresh pressure. So I've got, where's this guy? Let's put here. So I like to get, I didn't set this up, so actually I could just use a little water. So I'm getting a little bit of tip dry already. My primer's a little bit on the thick side. So let's get this on camera. Actually, you can probably see that a little bit. And this is why the solvent guys love sticking with solvents. I understand this. This isn't competitive. This isn't being argumentative or anything. I understand why solvent guys like solvents. Don't get me wrong. But with water-based systems, you just have to be familiar with, you're gonna get this sometimes. It's not the big deal. You know, you're going through various processes, and I'm just taking a brush and cleaning that tip off a little bit. And in fact, let me open this guy up. There we go. My preset was too tight, so my needle wasn't going back far enough. And let's add a little bit more thinner to this. I'm guessing 30% on the thinner today. And that's probably because of a summertime. It's pretty warm. I'm already 75 degrees. It's like almost 25 degrees Celsius in my office. So I know I'm finding a little bit of summertime. In the wintertime, you're probably gonna have a little bit easier time with this. In other words, going with a little bit less thinner. I'm kind of slightly over thinning a little bit to compensate for the heat. And that's normal for painting, guys. This is all normal bullshit. Mike, welcome, my friend. You're not late, brother. Don't worry about it. We're just getting started. You know me, I like to give you guys like 20, 30 minutes to get in here. I know how we all are. We all stroll in a little bit. You know, you're all chilling. So I'm just giving a little bit more thinner because you can tell I was fighting that just a hair. It was just a hair dry. But let's pull that piece back over here. So, and John, I'm going to answer your question over time here, my friend. Risdom, welcome. Risdom Design. What kind of design you do, brother? Graphic, industrial, product, cars? Okay, so let's zoom in here. So that's let's see. Okay. It's already dried at the touch. My camera works sloppy today, boys and girls. Let me up my game. There we go. That covered that dark black gray paint that was down there, and it covered the blue pretty well. And I need to add one more layer. You can see the blue still peeking through a hair, which is funny because we're actually gonna paint this blue again anyway. But I'm just trying to show you guys airbrushing a primer. And so you guys out there in the lacquer world, the first decade of my model building was my preference. It was the Mr. Surfacer in the aerosol, the 1500. I absolutely love that stuff. I still do. It's massively toxic. It's a time bomb in a can. And I live in an apartment. I have to go out in the street around the corner to like spray that stuff so people don't yell at me. It's just that it was that strong. And then it has to off gas. You will find that if you use the solvent-based primers, you should be letting them off gas for a little while. Maybe personally, you should let it go for 24 hours. When I was pushing work hard, you know, maybe 2 hours, I would start painting after that. You could push it really hard if you're just crunched, but that off gas will do stuff. So I recommend if you do use a solvent-based aerosol, whether it's Tamiya Surface Gray, Surface White, is it Surfacer, whatever I forget the actual, just Tamiya's primer, which is Gunzi's and Tamiya's are real similar. The Gunzi has like a 1500, a 1200. Did they ever bring a 2000 out? I think some of the aircraft guys were doing a 2000 with the Gunzi stuff. I prefer the aerosol myself. With hairspray, with priming, those major steps, I actually prefer the aerosols. And the reason is, when you get good with aerosol spraying, you can control your distance and it has a preset pressure. If you get familiar with that experience-wise and like know how to do that, you can do that really fast and efficiently, and it puts a perfect coat down. And it's just a very fast setup, and it doesn't require an airbrush setup because I don't have to clean this shit out. I hate that. That's the only downside of spraying, you know, any of the clear fluids like a chipping fluid or decanted hairspray or priming with an airbrush. You do have the extra cleaning step, and that's just me crying like a little baby about it, but it's no big deal. You know how that goes. But anyway, this, if I wanted to, I could probably paint that, but let's put a little bit more. You can hear how I've opened up the preset handle back here. I was politely reminded what this is called. Dual action airbrush, preset handle, MAC valve, quick release. That's your setup. And this is putting really light thin coat down. I'm moving really quick. This is how I do it for real. I'm about 2 inches from the surface at about 12 to 13 psi. with my valve open up almost all the way. So it's a full 12 to 13 PSI. And I'm not getting the primer too much in the connection points too much, because that question came up on Conan, I believe you asked that. And that's because the tolerances of Gunpla, Bandai, Kotobukiya, they're much tighter than even a Tamiya or a Hasegawa kit or a Takuma or main kit, because these are snap fit, boys and girls. If you don't know, these don't require glue, which is really cool when you get into it. At first you're kind of like, you know, military, you know, all of us guys were like, oh, this is like kid shit. No, dude. You should see the heavyweights that play in this world, dude. There's some serious talent out there. And I'm not even capable of some of the stuff. I know, like Franz, if you're still hanging out there, in terms of like, you know, Chris Paps, I don't know if you're coming through today, if you guys are out there. There's a whole world of Gunpla where they just, what they call is a clean build. Like I've mentioned before, it's a non-weathered project, and it's like a car model or like a civilian aircraft, where you just, that paint finish, that's your score. Literally, other than seams and all that stuff, your score is on that, how quality of that finish, that paint finish, because it's not weathered. You can't hide anything. You can't hide a damn thing. So it scares me to death. But anyway, so there we go. That's a prime foot. But that's airbrushing primer. It's that's it. And I would just sit here for hours now, and I would just go through this. And what I would do is, here, let's just pick up the chest part here. So what I had done, just so you guys know what you're looking at. You can, so there's a raw color plastic, and it comes, do we have a white piece? Yeah, here, let's just show you guys. There's a light. I can see why you guys use a little cardboard holder. So there's a white piece to plastic. So they produce these in the color schemes of the actual subject matter, which is pretty neat. But anyway, we've got a blue piece. So what I had done for, I believe it was Mosin 2017, I had primed this in I think I put, it was black with just a couple drops of gray. I just wanted like a dark gray color to work with for whatever reason. Let me clean the tip out. So it's good to get in the habit every 5-10 minutes if it's a process where you're like, hey man, this paint's drying a little fast to me today. And there's times too where like it just won't dry at all. It's just super great tip dry process. I'm always testing on the paper towel. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's going down nice. See, thin coats. I'm not too dry. I'm not too wet. I'm not building it up crazy. I'm just getting a coverage down. And this will give me a little bit of tooth for the top coat layer. And this is airbrushing primer. Paint is very much the same. And notice how I'm just rotating the part of my hand. This is super, no, we're not doing that. This is super easy. Airbrush and paints are playing nice today. I did a little sacrifice to the airbrush gods this morning while I had my coffee. They said thank you. Because you know what's going to happen, dude. You know I'm going to be on the stream airbrushing and this is all going to go to shit. I'll be stripping an airbrush down right in front of you. No, but anyway, so I'm just getting primer on the color sections. I'm familiar enough with these models now. I built 200 Gunpla over the COVID, what they call a snap build. To correlate to, they don't need glue. You pop open the box, you clip the parts off the sprue. And if you guys want to see that kind of stuff, we can do a little bit of like, you know, snapping parts, you know, cleaning them up. If there's guys that want to see this just for the sake. Franz, okay, you are still here. Yeah. So he says Gunpla is a whole different type of modeling. The creativity is endless. It's freedom, brother. Little dig. You're weathering and clean build. Yeah, it's a very unique perspective to scale modeling, and I'm sure you guys have watched Gundam Hathaway on Netflix. If you haven't, go watch it. Great anime came out recently. The Godzilla Singular Point was also really nicely done. Tresse, if you haven't seen that, if you guys need some, and then if you can find it, 86, called 86, 86. Is a great anime that recently came out. And there's kind of some military themed hover tanks in it and stuff. It's pretty cool. That I'll be doing later too. But anyway, there's a couple layers of primer onto the chest piece. So I put that in the little rack and I just move on. And that's priming, dude. That's just it, man. It's boys and girls, that's straight up. Do one more just for shits and giggles because I have it in the brush. We still got enough going. So you can see, so this white here, that means when these parts go together, if you're not, again, I'm talking to multiple guys, so oftentimes I'll repeat myself a little bit, and some of you know, you know. So this is where other parts will cover it. Paint actually doesn't cover this. Where you see the gray is what was actually exposed. And you can see this thing has traveled and been dinged up and all sorts of stuff, which makes it perfect for the RSP rebuild. Sorry. You all can tell me to shut up. But you can see, man, it's spraying nice. No problems. I haven't airbrushed primer in a minute. And I'm not getting too hard over the white that's going to be covered by the parts either. I'm just really concerned where the color is going to go, per se. So I've got a little bit of a, here, let's look at this. And this is also why you prime. Okay, so the camera zoom in. There we go. If you look right here, there's some plastic damage from something. I think when I split the parts apart, I damaged it a little bit. So I'm gonna have to clean that up, which is why when it's white raw plastic, you can't see it. So priming just helps you get it. And that means I can fix that. So I backed off, you see how I did that? I backed off a little bit, distance-wise, open that needle up, and then really hit that with the fast path to get kind of a nice even coverage over that. Because I'm trying to get rid of that black-white discoloration between the two parts, or between the scratch area. So I have to build it up slowly. But see how nice and smooth that is, guys? That's 12, 13 PSI. I'm pushing maybe 30% thinner in the primer. That's it. That thinner catalyzes this primer. Dude, we're done. No smells, a little bit of cleanup on the airbrush, no big deal. It's that easy. I say probably, if I had to push a paint color on top of that, if I'm working fast under the gun, like a contest is looming, I'm running late, and you boys know what I mean. Half hour, maybe. I'd give that a little bit, maybe an hour to 2 hours, but if you wanted to, basically by the time you're done cleaning this airbrush up, you're ready to go. You're ready to paint in terms of everything going on. So, like I said, they've got multiple colors, and this is I think it's John Adams who asked that one. If I'm a little bit feeling sharper today, guys. Asked about that. I hope that answered the question versus an aerosol primer process with the solvent-based chemicals. I'm sure there are the water-based aerosols. Again, you're welcome to run that route. This is just because of my situation indoors. Airbrushing a primer step for me, this actually solved that problem. I would have to do this all outside because of just my setup, but you guys have garages or shops or whatever. It's probably not that big a deal. So either way, pick your battles. It's half a dozen one, 6 of another. They both work the same, but I prime. So I think it's something you guys are probably, if you prime, it's kind of, you saw that rims, you saw that was what? Just as long as you get nice even coverage, you can visually see it. Let's look at these parts. They've been drying for a minute or two. And the stronger colors will peek through. So here we have, let's see if you guys can see that. There's a hint of blue coming through the foot. And I know this is the base foot of the model. I don't need it like hyper perfect. But these upper areas up here are nice. See that as I rotate through? It's nice even coverage, but you get a hint of the shade of it. This one had a dark gray color underneath. And this one had kind of this one also had here, this is a good piece actually. Let me put these two back real quick. I don't want to F these up actually, to be honest with you. I don't want to be clumsy on these projects. Okay, so we have a white plastic with it was a dark gray paint color underneath, and then we gray primed over it. So we're able to get nice even coverage with what you saw on screen rims. It's that it, man. It's just until it's covered. I don't go back and do more priming. But once this is down, we're gonna risk. It's dry. It's dry to the touch. Here, let's get in there. Just so you know I'm not lying. So oops. Zoom, come on. It's dry to the touch. It's not leaving a fingerprint in there at all. So it's almost pretty much ready to go. In the time that I ramble on, it's ready to go. Okay, cool, John. Thank you. Yeah, and that's a good question though, because and I do believe there's a number of water-based solvent, non-solvent primers, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm out of the loop on some of this stuff. That for sure. I got contacted by a buddy of mine about another type of resin product, and with a 3D printing, it was a whole line of stuff that the company does. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm a little bit rusty on some of this stuff. So feel free to name drop or whatever product lines, and I'll see what I can do. Now let me get through. Did I miss any questions here? Yeah, you do. Okay, Gould, on the primer with mission models. That's what I said before, was that this thinner catalyzes the primer, and that's what you want for the cure. That's why it works so well just now. It's already done, ready to go. Like, that's it. You edit this out to the 2 minutes of airbrushing, ready to go. Don't overthink it. Please don't overthink it. And that's usually what the problem is here. Yeah, TK, you late to the party, brother? So it is, in this case, it is this one. Just your gray MMP 003 gray primer. It's the gray primer, and then you have to catalyze it with the thinner. This is a 2-part system for this particular brand. But it works great. I don't have any problems with it. I'll probably keep going. Still spraying. Hasn't really tipped it. Because see, I'm taking care of that too. That's one of the things too, is when you learn to airbrush effectively in this manner, what happens is you start doing stuff automatically. And I knew immediately, I could feel that first initial, I was a little bit hair thick on my ratio. So you just back yourself off, add a little thinner to it, mix it up, adjust yourself, because none of this is pure 100% science. Like, it's got to be that number for it to work. Like, there's a wiggle room here. And because of temperature, humidity, it is getting really stuffy in here. Like, I can feel it. So, but that's kind of one of those things where, you know, those are the things that you kind of have to adjust on the fly. And that does come with experience. Don't feel bad. You know, if you guys are kind of, you know, like Conan or whatever's in it, you know, you guys, some of these guys are really new to this, but you know, Franz, you know, I'm not going to probably tell you anything you don't know, but at the same time, I would love to see, for the greater good kind of a conversation, to move away from solvent. It's going to kind of happen anyway. I think I've mentioned this a while back. One of my customers works for the EPA. It's coming. Just be aware, guys, that the lacquers in the US in particular, the harsh court, you're going to probably 3 to 5 year window where you just, no more. So it's coming. Which is fine because I'm already off that. So it's, you know, like I said, we've had that. I don't want to get into this too much. You guys know my POV. Let's see, stick to photo. Okay. Yeah, I think did I get everybody's questions all right? Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, so Pete, it's an old one. Yeah, so what I do with my brushes. So Pete asks, you're using your low Cornell brushes to clean your airbrush tip just to spite. You caught me. I got called out, my friends. I just got called out. Yeah, so what I do, not to spite you, truthfully not spiting you, as these rotate through, so these OPR brushes that I use, what they do is they start to rotate through, and they do get a little bit chunked up here. They're starting to get, and I could probably try to save them, but because this is a relatively new, these are no longer around, and I apologize, I haven't done my homework this week to find the replacement. I'm getting a lot of questions about these. Really quick on brushes, about 1.5 centimeters. Where's my little ruler? Hold on a second. Let's see here. Yeah, 15 mils, or about 5/8 almost. Get a little bit longer bristle brush that holds a nice tip, and you can go through the art stores or whatever and just find ones that you like. I suggest, like shoes or cars, test drive them. Go to the art store and grab some. You'll probably have a better selection, you know, and then you can buy them online in bulk or whatever, or find, you know, I say test drive your brushes, and I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to roll over to Blix. I think there's one downtown Portland over there. I'm having to roll over there pretty soon. We just had the mask mandate lifted in Portland, so we are free to roam by choice without a mask outside, which is kind of weird. And they opened the bar tops back up, so we couldn't sit at the bars. Like if you go out, there's so many restaurants here that you go sit at the bar, because I always eat by myself sometimes. I hate going out in COVID with the mask on, sitting at the table by myself having a beer. I'm like, no. So I've been sober, which is great. It's good for the health. But yeah, that's what I do with the brushes. I rotate them through. That's a quick recap on the brush thing. We will find some solutions for you guys. Use Vallejo paints, but started using Mission primers. Yeah, they should play pretty well together. I will use some other brands, guys. Don't sweat it. I have Vallejo, Life Color. I have some AK stuff. I have some of the Vallejo's weathering stuff, and I have some of the Life Color stuff that they have. So I will get into some other brands too. Don't worry about it. I'm getting the mission stuff out of the way because I think that is going to get you guys further along. Those that have had that questions for a while, I get directly asked. And again, you guys are always welcome to email me, DM me in the Instagram. Facebook I don't use for Messenger, just avoid Facebook, and other than just the whatever I'm doing, posting for promo stuff. Contact me directly via email if you have any questions about anything, book orders, whatever. That's always the best. And then if you have like modeling stuff, or hey, I want to show you my work or whatever, Instagram actually works pretty cool. You can always DM me on Instagram, no problem. Pretty much using lacquers to spray these days because the ultra smooth finish, styling res primers work great as well. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about styling res, but what you just saw is the OG of that, by the way. Just if you guys don't know that story, and I don't want to get into it, but the Mission Model primer system is on point. You guys are good. If you like styling res, you like the Mission Models primers. Yeah, Sylvain, we will definitely get a drink. Tomas, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. You're in Eugene. Okay, Risdom. Okay, I missed. What did you say you do, brother? I missed what you said you did. Yeah, Eugene. Go Ducks. Yeah, I haven't traveled in the state at all. I think I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't gone north to the Couve, anything. Okay. I am dragging my feet here. Yeah, see, that's what. So one of the things I don't really get into, and this is why you don't see me online a lot with this kind of stuff too, is trying to get some water in the primer. Let's clean this up. So I did it. Got yelled at. Boss is like, don't use all your thinner to clean. So just clean it out with a little bit of water. I'm just using just a little bit of brush to kind of. And I've been talking. It's been drying, so that's not a good, especially with primer because it will catalyze. It's a little bit harder to clean up. So I'm just flushing out with water. Got a little cup of water on the side over here. Let's get some of this out. But anyway, flush all your stuff out with Vallejo, Life Color. Do a flush out with just water. Save your thinners for the final cleaning. That'll just make them last a little longer. You know, it's like a pro tip. Yeah. Just getting the junk out of there. Because I don't want this to solidify. I made the mistake a lot of times with demos, especially as you guys come chat with me after the demo. Like I forget the airbrush is loaded up and it'll sit there for hours. I'll bring the airbrush home on the plane and I'm like for like 3 days just trying to clean off dried paint. Yeah, so this is already starting to catalyze. Yeah, so that's funny. Oh, what else we got here? Yeah, and I'm not the guy that's going to criticize other brands too. I use what I use. It's just me. You want to use what I use, cool. You have your system. But the thing is, take away from this stuff, guys. Your takeaway, brushwork, how I'm handling the airbrush, my pressures, my thinning ratios. Take those away because you can use that stuff. It's not brand specific per se. 30% thinning ratio works for a lot of other companies as well. 20 to 30 is kind of a go-to with these kind of setups. Even Vallejo's Model Air, I would always add another 10-15%, even though they're pre-thinned in the bottle. So I tend to play a little bit, push my thinners a little bit. In the Tamiya conversation, the lacquer conversation, the 50-50 thinning ratios, that's applicable there. But it's just you using what you use, and that's okay. Nobody, it's fine. And I'm not telling you not to. Rarely will you see me not tell you not to do something. I'm not super argumentative. I'm not confrontational argumenting with this stuff anymore. It's a waste of time, brothers. Waste of time. We got models to build because my boy Scott is in there. What's up, Plastic Posse? How are you today? Is TJ around? I haven't seen TJ's name come through. Yeah, Rizm's doing model cars, Warhammer, anything on a sprue. Dude, somebody steal that name before somebody does. Hashtag or at anything on a sprue. There's your next Instagram account. You're welcome. Where's my thinner? Here we go. Okay, so I got most of that out of there with the water. You can see the primer's sticking on the cup, so we got to switch to the expensive stuff. A few drops in there. Got a little stash of Q-tips up here. And I'll do a more thorough clean. After stream, I strip my airbrushes back down a little bit. So, yeah, thank you, bud. Oh, TJ. Okay. Yeah, I probably missed some. Gee, there you are. Okay, gun with the bum. The gun with the bum. Shouldn't be that the bum with the gun? Yeah, you guys are fucking me up. I have a lot of it. Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about Vallejo. I'll do my best to help you guys with all those kind of. If you have something specific, it's a really good idea. If you need some advice or help right now, and it's a challenging, something's not working for you, when you do it, best thing is either photograph it step by step and or write everything you're doing down on a Post-it note or something and just send it to me later, you know, kind of a thing. And I might take a couple of days to get back to you. I'll let you know I received your conversation, and then we'll try to troubleshoot you a little bit. Especially I know with the mission, and we're gonna do some hairspray. Don't worry about it. We're getting to it. I'm just not ready for hairspray chipping yet. I need to be like, sit down and, you know, maybe have a beer with you guys. So I made a mess with this thing. All right. Anyway, I just want to get that kind of rough. The primer is catalyzed in my cut. I just want to keep going. I have an old diaphragm compressor. Ooh, that sounds lovely. I remember that sound. Did you guys even hear the compressor? Let's see if I can get it to kick. Yeah, the silent air is pretty nice. There it goes. A little pop. It's on, it's vibrating right. I don't know if you can even hear that. Val, hello, how are you? Question, John says, I have an old diaphragm. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even read the whole question. So sidetracked. I have an old diaphragm compressor at the moment, and I'm thinking of upgrading. What are you using, and do you have any recommendations? Okay, so John, I think watch episode 4. Just good information. I show you my silent air compressor. Okay, hold on one second. Unplug the phone. If I lose the phone connection, I hope. Okay. This is the messy benchtop. You can see all the streaming stuff, my little bench stuff there. There's the paint selection over there, the little stuff, a cup of water. That's you fellas. And then down here, behind the hanging, is this guy. So it's the Silent Air 20A. That's the model I use. It's expensive. It's not cheap. It's pushing. It's north of 700 on Amazon right now. But if you're patient, save up, all that good stuff. You know, you might be able to score one for around 500. Now, Silent Air it's an upper level compressor company. That's all they make, I believe. And I used to run an Iwata air tank compressor, or any sort of air tank compressor. John, would be the next step up from a diaphragm. There are some really good, and you guys probably know better than me by now, because I just simply don't never see them or use them. But I remember there's some small tabletop silent versions or quieter type compressors for quick bench work. Maybe you guys can throw some names out there. Hey TJ, what's up, brother? There he is. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, spray. So I'm okay. So I'm reading some stuff here. And I said this last time, and this will probably help you guys a little bit. I'll do a quick recap and then we'll move on to some more, we'll put some color down, because that primer's ready to go. I'm gonna swap airbrushes here. So quick release. Ready, Freddy. Nice. That's why you have the quick releases. So what you just saw was an airbrush switch. I kind of cleaned the primer out enough that it's not gonna die in the thingy. In the cup. If you're having trouble spraying any of the brands that are acrylic based or water based or anything like that, if you're cleaning with solutions such as a lacquer thinner, such as an ammonia based Windex or stuff like this, is my camera's upside. Hold on, guys. Sometimes it does this. So I use Epoch Cam to turn the iPhone, there it goes, into a webcam, which is really cool. And we solved that in episode 2 to get the 1080p. And it does Wi-Fi connection, or I'm doing a hard USB connection, and it's got a pinch zoom, and then I have to hit the screen for focus. So it's autofocus a little slow, but it works pretty good. But anyway, back to that. If you're having trouble painting paint, if you're having trouble airbrushing paint, and I said this last week, put your money into a second airbrush and then run whatever type of brand chemical, whether it's like a vinyl acrylic, which is a Vallejo or a Life Color, that kind of a latex vinyl in one airbrush. And then run all your solvents down another airbrush, and then clean those with only the cleaners that work for those. And don't intermix your cleaners. Most of the problems you guys are probably having, I will guess 9 out of 10, is because you are cleaning with something that does not play well with the type of paint you're using. That's almost always the problem. And I've talked about this where 10 years ago, I just would fight the changes because there's so many brands and all this stuff all through one airbrush. I would just fight it constantly. And it's just, it's a headache. So add a second airbrush to your station. You'll thank me later. Save up the money. They're not super. $100 Tamiya XF Superfine, $100. You know, that's what, maybe a kit, you know, it's that's the Mark V P Bandai. You have to suffer, you don't get it, get the airbrush. Yo, Martin, look everybody, we have a celebrity, my friends. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Martin, I hope you're healing well. I was late to that news. I did send you an Instagram. Boy doesn't check his Instagrams. But anyway, Martin Night Shift is in stream. Welcome. We are going to be doing a podcast conversation with the boys at Plastic Posse and Adam Wilder here. I believe, Scott, have you announced that yet or no? I don't want to say anything. I want to let you handle it. Billy? Okay, yeah, no worries. We'll cover that. Mixed media is always the wrong way to go in session. You guys are awesome. Yeah. So if you do struggle with painting, and it's me shaking the table, understand that chemical types on the pure level of water-based, solvent-based, keep it simple. I'm not trying to be a chemist, but just keep that idea simple. If you're trying to clean something, say with a Windex or a lacquer thinner or something like that, it will gum up other types of paint, such as water-based systems, such as Mission Models. It will gum it up. Don't run lacquer thinner through your Mission Models airbrush. Just please don't, because I'll tell you what, you're gonna write me, go, dude, can't spray. And I'm sure it's the same for the Ammo, Vallejo, some of the other stuff. They're a little bit more sensitive and less forgiving. Some of them, yes, can be pushed through with leveling thinner, missed that whole conversation. That's because basically the pigments are a plastic base and solvents and plastics play together. Mission Models is organic based, so it is an isolated case scenario. And you just have to, you know it, the information's out there, just treat it as such. Don't get hung up and fight about it and be argumentative in that sense of just, and if you don't like it, dude, use what you like. It's okay. It's all okay, guys. No worries. But yeah. Yeah, so his cast, Martin, if you haven't heard, Night Shift broke his leg and a what, mountain biking? You and Garrigo, dude. I see Garrigo's feed, and I'm just like, Garrigo's like competitive too. He's up there. Anyway, what do I got? Okay, so my Gundam dudes. Color selection. Now, color selection, let me get on camera with that. Color selection is always fun. That's also the most important decision you're gonna make. I think that's like, if you're gonna list out like a top 10, color decision is up there by choice of color. So I had this little Jimmy rig. I believe this is PVC. So this is a figure. This is not a scale model, but this little guy. So the model, to you guys don't know, this is what the GP04 looks like when it's done. I have this 1/400 scale or whatever, this maybe 200, 220. It's a PVC figure. I forget what line this is out of Bandai. This might be Universal, I don't think so. It's not Gashapin because it's not an SD. So I don't know if it's, it's not a Converge or anything like that, but it's basically a Converge, but just not SD. I forget where I got it. I think eBay. It's really cool. It's kind of an off cream white, and it's kind of a really pale lavender blue. And I like this version of the color scheme. So I'm gonna use this as this is what we're gonna paint. This is what we're gonna get to with all that stuff over there. That's what we're doing. This is what a GP04 looks like. To everybody that's not familiar, this is the GP04. And if you haven't watched Stardust Memory and all that stuff, if you're a Gunpla fan, all that stuff, get on it. I like the GP series of Gundams, GP01s, GP02. GP02 is one of my favorites. I actually like it a lot. I like bell bottom leg, I like the Dom, the GP02s. But anyway, so what I've got, actually let me pull this guy back in so you can see what I've got. Put him down. So I have all the fuel tank funnels, I have the weapon, I have the shield. We'll get into all that. This project will be, a couple months. It's not gonna be done tomorrow. It's no work. But anyway, what I've done here is I've grabbed some colors. So Insignia White is kind of nice, is a nice off-white shade. Anything off-white, is a great color to use if you want to paint a white model. I tend to shift my tones a hair if I'm doing a really, really light color scheme. Largely because because of my production process, I have to photograph it. Pure white models on obviously the RSP, the white backdrops and all that stuff, that's a challenge, dude. It's the hardest thing to photograph. So if you get a little color in these, you'll really help yourself out. And I'm gonna go with this for the blue. This is actually is this a Ford color? Yeah, this is sweet. So they're doing a civilian line of colors for civilian cars and trucks. This is Ford's Arcadian Blue from 1965. It's like a powder blue. It's like a nice baby blue. It's gonna be lighter than this guy, but we're gonna do some oil paints. Oh, Billy, sorry buddy, I missed that part. I did not answer you. OPR stands for the oil paint rendering technique that I like to talk about, that we're going to get into here in a little bit. And then yellow, I'm going to use their new construction yellow 1990 to the present. This is the richer mustardy caterpillar yellow color from the modern cats out there. It's kind of a smoky yellow. It's like a smoky mustard. So these are going to be my prime. And then I'm going to got to solve the red. There's just a little bit of red on the dude. Oops, here, get on camera, bro. Don't be shy. Yeah, so that's going to be my color palette. Anyway, so we'll get into that. And let's put down, let's go switch to blue. So yeah, oil paint rendering, that's the oil paint technique that I've talked about over the last 4 or 5 episodes, Billy, if you go back and watch that stuff. Yeah, so Martin was saying his cast was as thick as a mouse. The tank, yeah. Sorry, man. I don't even want to know the pain what you went through. I saw some of that and I was like, okay, I gotta go. I don't have the stomach for that stuff. Just catching up here. Yeah, everybody's happy he's here. Everybody knows Martin. Thank you for coming too. I appreciate that. It's nice of you. And also, a lot of you guys don't know that we actually have never really like chatted before. We know each other for a while, just via online and just being participants. So yeah, I'll let you guys chat with him for a minute. Okay, sweet, brother. Martin says he's gonna do some OPR. I do like the T55. I was watching that one the other day, doing a little hairspray. I love your little sidebar comments. I love hand painting the chips, but let's do this. Oh wow, this is fucking awesome. Paraphrasing there, pardon my French. I hope if there's any kids out there, let me know. I'm trying to really keep my cursing down, but we are selected for NC-17 or whatever, older. Modelers don't sign their friends, they apply decals on it. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, so I've got the blue shaking up pretty good here. Let me get a little mixer cup. Yeah, I think it'd be fun if guys, Martin, you're out there, and those of you maybe doing a live stream or two. This was, the conversation about joining the club of making videos and stuff like that. 4 drops, base 4 or 5 drops. I'm just not really good with my Adobe Premiere yet. I want a certain production value out of it. I obviously have the books. I'm comfortable in Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, of course, and all that stuff. I'm really good with 2D print. And the video stuff for me, I'm slow, kind of getting the vibe that I'm trying to get with it, matching the music, all this kind of stuff. And then I'm doing live streams with the Gunplug guys on a long. No, you're fine, brother. You guys go talk to Martin. You're all buddies. Y'all love him. Don't feel bad. Let's me get my mixing out of the way. But I made a conscious decision after doing quite a few live streams with the Gunplug community. You know what? I can pull that off. Get going with you guys. Get something out here. I figured out the technical stuff pretty straightforward. I had some hiccups, but some of the fellas in here helped me with some stuff, and no worries, right? I mean, here we are. So I'm trying to give myself the month of July to kind of get all the stuff out of the way, and then really start producing the edited videos in terms of like, here's a 20-minute video on OPR or whatever it is, or hairspray or all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and see, that's the thing is a lot of you guys are like Martin. You do this a lot, so you're really familiar. Like I have the subscription to Adobe, so I have Premiere like for free. So that's why I'm going that way, and it does play with all that stuff. But he's saying DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, so I'm making notes, boys and girls. Always have to be open to learn, guys. The tip I learned from Martin recently, which I should have kicked myself over. I had the same problem with in KINGART 3, the modern one, using Vallejo. If you watch his T55 video, this was a little tidbit I picked up, and I try to do this with everything I pay attention to out there, whether you're Franz in the Gunpla or whatever. I'm always trying to pick up little tips and tricks because I don't know everything, and I understand that. I'm a badass. You love me, and it's a beautiful face, but I don't know everything. I just don't. Spray a little bit of white between your rust base coat or your dark base coats for hairspray. Makes your top coat go a whole lot easier in terms of opacity. I struggle with that with the thing, and that was something that really I'm like, oh, like it was a no-brainer. I was like, oh, okay. So props, and that's one of the things, guys. Always be open to an idea, kind of a concept and whatever. Anyway. Okay, so there's the base of the foot, which is that guy in that blue color. So we're gonna see how this looks. primer is completely dry, it's pretty much ready to go. We've been talking for a while, so yeah, we're good. And I've just mixed up enough paint to just kind of cover this up. And I'm also trying to pick out, okay, pro tip, and a lot of you guys know this too. This is for the experienced dudes. Yeah, every day is a school day. Look at that, beautiful, boom. Get on camera. If you're gonna pre-mix a shade, get fresh bottles, clean bottles, and mix a lot, and then put that in there and keep that for the project over the long term. Like right now, see, like for example, I'm mixing in a cup like this. If I'm mixing and I gotta do blue parts for all this model over the course of the next month or so, if I don't match that, I'm gonna get blues all over the place. So I'm using an out of the bottle color so I know that that's consistent. But if you mix, it's always a great idea if you're not gonna use it in a short amount of time, is put that into its own little like container and save it. It'll keep for a while. So anyway. Okay, I'm a little strong on the pressure. Use the MAC valve, tighten it up a little bit. There we go. Laying down a nice, light, even wet coat. Is that in focus? Nice. So that's how it goes down. And this is just how the road wheel went last week. Oh, wow, that went fast. Maybe I hope I made enough paint. Oh, get in there. Let's do a little bit of that. Hold on one second. Got a little drip. Okay. So where was I? Okay, yeah, on the bottom. Airbrushing 101. So this blue over the gray primer is not getting a really strong blue to it, which is okay. It's not the end of the world. Let me put this back in the stand for a second. Actually, when you put it against the gray primer pieces, it's a nice little blue. I have to mix up some more paint. It wasn't enough. Oh, that's awesome. This is why live streaming airbrushing. Okay. Oh no. It's about 5. I think at the first drop is a little juicy. I always spill that first drop out. So it's about 3 thinner to like 5 or 6. We're pushing maybe 50-50. But it's spraying nice though. Trust me, you guys saw that. That thing's spraying beautiful. Put that right in El Capo. There we go. We're back on. Get my dude. I do like the fact that this holds the parts. It kind of sticks in the hole a little tough. I don't want to pull it off. Okay. So where were we? Where were we? And that's how you fix that. Like if wasn't a problem. I'll get to you guys here in a sec. I can see some comments. But so I ran out of paint mid-spray. Just mix up some more, throw it in the cup, boom, done. We're not getting any tip dry. And I'm probably here. You guys, this is probably, you guys are probably, I know some of you are laughing. You're like, what the fuck? Okay. So I'm turning the part to kind of match the angle so I'm not throwing the airbrush around a little too much. See, I have to get that top of that foot right there too. But see how it's starting to build up? I don't know if you guys can even see that. Let's see. So I'm backing myself off a little bit, let that kind of catch up and dry. And with the glare of the light, it does look a little grayer. It's not as blue as I'd hope, but that's not the end of the world. And my favorite, no need to wait for paint dry. That's pretty much it. You know, I mean, airbrushing 101. I mean, you watch it live, that's it. I'm not having problems, nothing's going wrong. You know, I'm not fighting tip dry, I'm not fighting splatters, I'm not fighting runs or orange peel. You can see the distance, the pressure. And those are the variables with airbrushing, you know, really fine tune it. You know, those of you out there, I mean, obviously there's some pro level talent in the stream. You know, these are very experienced individuals. You know, they've been doing this a long time. You know, so let's get back over here. So It's a nice, very pale blue. Way more pale than I thought, but it's also over a gray primer. So what I probably could have done, you know what I could have done? I don't think they make it. All right, well, screw me. A blue primer would be nice. I'll text my boy. Say, dude, make a blue primer. If you're okay, so one of the things I do like about the primer systems, the color primers, is that you can work those to your advantage. There was a question a couple weeks ago from one of you boys in there. I think Mike in Indiana had asked about why was my Panzer Gray looking a little red in the book, and that's because I'm using it over a red primer as a factory paint job. And I try to replicate the factory stuff as much as I possibly can at times. But anyway, let's see here. Let me take a minute here to read this. Truth bombs being dropped all over. No, this is cool. I'm super happy with what's going on in terms of the streams, the people coming through, questions being asked. The more questions you ask, the better it's going to be. Let's see. I'm kind of letting the paint sit here a little bit. I'm kind of showing you bad stuff so that you see that stuff's pretty forgiving. If you're having trouble with stuff, then you just have to back yourself up a little bit and figure out what's going on. You probably have a chemical mismatch somewhere. Let's see if that shows up on camera a little bit. You can see that the blue against the gray does show. It is definitely a little bit of a blue tint. It's a little bit more of a baby blue, pale sky blue. But if you like really, Gunpla guys, if you like really desaturated tones, that's actually a really nice shade. Because I think when I put the white, I think it'll actually make it pop. But with some stuff, I might switch blues. I might practice off stream between the weeks and maybe pick a little bit stronger blue. I don't want to add like a blue to this, because then I'm going to start mixing paint. It's the whole conversation. I have to mix a lot, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, yeah, we didn't. That was one of the things we didn't. That 2017 Mosin was. I think that was the year I met Bayan Wu for the first time as well, who is back from his health problems he was having. So I was super happy to see Bayan Wu back up and running. Really a little bit of a scare, so I was pretty happy with him that he's okay. Every day's a school day. Truth bombs, yes. Mike, your subs have really gone up quickly, but that's really no smile. Thank you, man. I appreciate. No, I have noticed. I know it's week 2, but we're getting there. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do with YouTube, and I know, like Martin, obviously you've blown up and all that stuff, and so I'm behind all those, like the major stuff. So I have a lot of assets to build, edited videos, etc. I got a lot of work to do. Yeah, Conan, everything's the same. Everything's this, brother. So this is just a clean system, which is why I like it. It's a nice perk. But all the brands are the same way. You can run the same, branded content all the way through. You can buy the base paints and the thinners, and you can run them all the way through. Some will play with each other. And if you have a question about stuff, Conan, like if you're new to this, and you have access to certain brand names that you may not have access to in other stuff, even though with the internet we can get most stuff, just either ask and stuff like this, or hop onto Instagram or some of the bigger dudes and just ask. If you see something that you like, you're gonna learn so much just from the community. These guys in here, there's so many people that will help you out. So don't sweat it too much. Hello, Mikola, is that how you say that? What's up, brother? Looking really smooth for acrylic. Yeah, it is. There's look, I said this years ago. A good airbrusher knows how to airbrush, and it's not gonna matter the brand of paint. I could go to the craft store and pick up junk watercolor bottles and spray it fine, because I know what I'm doing. So once you get comfortable with paint thinner ratios, you can spray anything. It's a thin liquid through an airbrush. I mean, you can spray all sorts of the inks now with the shaders that Amo's putting out, but that's an old thing from before. But they're containing in a nice little package for you guys. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. As long as it's a thin chemical, you could probably spray it. You could even thin pigments. I wouldn't do it, but it'll gunk it up. But yeah, there's things, as long as you know what you're doing in terms of the base chemical level and the laws at play, you're gonna be okay. So let me get this color out of here. So that's been sitting in there for a few minutes. I got a little ketchup over here. I cannot find I had the glass airbrush cleaner jar that you stick the thing in and you blow the old paint into. I have it somewhere, I don't know what it says. I moved fairly recently, so some of the stuff I haven't found. And I do promise rail stock. I know I've said it like 5 times now. I actually meant to go get a piece today, but I'll try to get that for this weekend for my guys, my rail guys. That's why I just have this cheap paper towels down right now. I'm just doing quick demo stuff. Doing it in paper towels like this is just, you know, if you're just doing a, like I'm not spraying all day, so I'm just doing some demo stuff for you guys. I'm not really. Let's do a quick change. I'm not even pull the needle on that. What's the color? Insignia white. Your free time. You know what, TK? No kidding, man. The hardest problem that I found is keeping up with everybody. It's super difficult. So oftentimes you guys don't see me is because I've got so many 1,000 other things to do. I'm kind of going by visual right now because I'm falling behind here. I want to get further along with you guys. So this is Insignia white. It's kind of a nice creamy, it's like a Portland stone. You know, it's a really nice creamy white, off-white, eggshell white. It's not in the tan family, it's not a light tan, it's more of a whitish shade, which is kind of a, there is a differentiation of, where is, which one is this? Neutral tint, yeah, here we go. So this is, so over here on the right, you have a white tone, and then over here on the left, you have a really light tan tone. They are different. So having good color selections does help with that kind of stuff because you can really fine tune and shift your color spectrums if you play up pale blues, pale tans, you know, pale greens and reds and pinks and stuff. That's one way to go. Yeah, see, Rick's saying he's spraying oil. You know, I thought about that the other day too. I should probably just do like a I don't want to use the F word, but use like an F off experiment and just do weird shit and see what happens. Just, you know, do it with you guys. Because obviously, I mean, if I make a mistake, I'm not going to freak out on you guys, but I do hope that sometimes I do make errors because of everything going on. I'm not worried about Martin. I'm not worried about Rick. You guys know what you're doing, I hope, right? Kidding. It's the guys out there that aren't participating, that are watching this back there, that just, you know, they're not comfortable with this stuff or they're new to this or whatever. Some of you aren't comfortable talking on, you know, I get it. For every 10 guys in here, there's 1,000 out there. Those are the guys I'm kind of talking to sometimes when I'm effing up in here. You got to see it because then you know what to do. You don't panic. This is all fixable. None of this is like high pressure. We're building scale models, dudes. This is easy. Come on. Okay. So I got the leg that I'm going to paint in white. So we made up the white tone here, and I just realized I just looking at it, that ain't gonna be enough given what just happened. All right, let me get at this. Okay, hold on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Maybe a hair much, but that's okay. That's actually a hair thick. I was always a big visual guy with mixing paint. You can see it tossing it out. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. A little bit more. And I think because I'm inside and it's really stuffy today. I can feel it. It's like this muggy cap of clouds over us, and it's compressing the summer heat. Anyway. Okay. That's enough. You can see it kind of swirling around, having a good time. Okay. So we didn't even bother cleaning too much after the blue. So I'm going to show you what it's like to push a little bit. When I say push, that means I'm kind of forcing some things here. I probably would, if I'm doing this for a contest or competition, I would have taken the time to clean the airbrush a little bit better in between this color change. But for the sake of what we're doing and for the sake of most of you out there, what you just saw is okay. Yeah, Rick, your Lux was really nice, buddy. That's in that new Taklon kit. I always wanted to build, was it the Italeri kit? The older one? The German, the post-war looks. Okay, let's see how nice that is. Okay, let me get my leg again. Yeah, let's get this one. Remember spraying, yeah, thinning oils. And again, airbrushing, you can thin any chemical, you can spray it. If you know what you're doing, you can figure it all out. It's all basic rudimentary stuff. John asks another question. How do you feel about thinning and mixing paint in the airbrush? I used to do that all the time. This is a little, and when I'm private, quiet, and none of you dudes are watching me, yes, I'll mix directly in the cup. It's just easier, especially for small parts. But just because I want to show you how to mix freely, openly on camera, yes, mixing in cups is old school. And that's why here, let me grab this. Usually, John, most of you guys, and I think the little bit bigger cups, I tend to like them a little bit better. But that's the bigger needle I prime with it. So anyway, I'm back. And this is how I spray, boys and girls. I'm not doing anything different to what I normally do. I like to go off, start it. You can hear the dual action, sorry. Press down for air, pull back for paint. And I get in kind of this rhythm. So I'm not, on individual pieces like this, if it's the top of a wing or a hull or a turret, I will do a little bit more of a continuous spray pattern. Because it's a small part like this, I want to make sure my coverage, if I'm going to compete with the Franz, like a guy in there who will kick my ass in clean build, because his paint finish is perfect and he's using a lacquer-based system, I'm coming from this, I got to be honest. So that's why I'm doing that straight pass, and you can hear the airbrush coming off and on, off and on, off and on, and you get in kind of a rhythm with that. And that's because with small part painting, you're going to get a little bit nicer coat, nice even coat. So that's why I do those kinds of things. There's always a why. So yeah, the blue's probably a little too pale, but it's tough because of the glare outside. You're not seeing quite 100%, but I might go with it actually. I might go with a really hyper pale pastel system for my GP04. See how this custom comes out. But anyway, there you go, boys. Painting. Yeah. Yeah, that's what Martin's saying the same. When you're experienced with this stuff, and this is kind of, I'm actually trying to make sure guys like Colin, who's a noob or whatever, you know, you really understand the base foundation principles before you start trying to be like us or Martin or whatever. Been doing this for 15 years, like understand that. So if you're new to this, don't go fast. There's no speed reason. There's no time constraints other than what you put on yourself. So just kind of, you know, you don't need, if you're doing color swaps on the fly, I've got a lot of parts to paint. Yeah, I'm just gonna push that. I'm just gonna push that, and it's okay because I know it's gonna work okay. But if you do have issues where you're just a little bit slower, then don't worry about it, dude. Just take a minute, clean the airbrush out, keep going. It's okay. So it's kind of, you know, take it all. It's a lot of information here, but understand it's a lot of experience involved too, especially with airbrushing. But hopefully what you're seeing, because fellas, I'm not doing it. This is it. It's the whole thing. That is my airbrushing right there. And then with the clear coats and varnishes, it's the same thing, but you need to adjust the thinning and the distance a little bit to get kind of an even coat with the clear coat over varnish. But that's no big deal. We'll get into that. I just don't want to. I want to move on to something else. I'm tired of airbrushing. Yeah. So anyway, what do we got going on here? Yeah, no, I mean that's I'm happy for you, all that, Martin, that you know your success. You deserve it. You've been working hard. Yeah, cheap airbrushes are good now. Just blowing them through is strong. Yeah, sometimes blowing bubbles does. Yeah, so sweaty balls. Martin Uncle Night Shifts is in stream with us. Okay, let's do some oils, guys. Let me get this stuff out of the way. I'm a little bit parched today too. 4th of July kicked my butt. I had a Sunday stream and then I went out with some friends. That's the first day for me non-mask in the city. That was a little bit weird. I won't lie. But it was fun. And I don't drink a whole lot anymore. So having a couple beers, I'm already cheap date. And then Monday was family time and more barbecue and more stuff. So Sunday, Monday, I had a good 4th of July. Really, that was probably the first real time off in a while. But yeah. No, you're fine, relatable. I hope you had to run the other. No, always, guys. Yeah, you guys come and go, whatever you want to do. Always watch the stream later. The streams are going up raw, so I'm not even bothering editing these things and all that fun stuff. But anyway, oh, before I forget, let me get this out of here. So I just put a little water in the cup. Where's my little brush here? Where you go? Just gonna swirl that up a little bit and dump it out. And this just saves on the thinner. There's no reason to spray that all out. I just add water to it just to easily get it out of there. And then just spray whatever's else out of there. No, it's pretty straight up stuff. It gets a little like you get into rhythm. You know, this is just, you know, this is the grind, if you will. Painting is the grind. I don't find the grind with weathering nearly as much, but with painting like this, you're really in a grind. You're in a grind of processes you should follow pretty stringently. There's some leeway, but you know, you have to clean. Trust me on that one. I've come home from seminar trips and with dirty airbrushes, and every time I yell at myself, I'm like, dude, like it's the worst. I've ruined a couple actually. Paladin, welcome. Back in my day, we would spit paint your mouth while walking in the snow in the summertime. Yeah. So less in America, a lot of the mask restrictions are just starting to lift, and it's kind of city by city, state by state a little bit. So, and I know my European friends or you guys are just starting to get your second vaccines now, I think, right? And the problem we're gonna have, and I'm gonna yell at you guys down in Australia, New Zealand, you need to get your shit together, because I'm already getting the shipping clamp down again, and that's no fun. Oops, that's no fun. So I pulled the needle back so I can clean the thing out a little bit, and I'll clean this off stream later. Just a little water in there, clean that tip up so it doesn't dry all gunked up. But anyway, that's it. That's cleaning right there. Anyway, let me clean up for a sec here. You know, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do real quick. I'm gonna shift gears. Okay, I'm back. Just kidding. Just messing with you guys. Okay, so let's go. Oh, I need this guy with some tape. So when I get serious with this stuff, I've been clumsy enough to know better. Double side tape on the base of these little plastic cups. This is going to be the OPR thinner down here, my odorless thinner. So I just put a little side of double side tape on this guy. Just a little, get off, there we go. There we go. So that'll just stick down, and I have it on the base of this guy too already. So let me see what we're going to do. We're not going to do the legs here, but I'm going to show you guys and talk about something real quick before we jump into the oils, and this will be good for some of you who are kind of newer to coming in with this. Yeah, so you guys are just chatting amongst yourselves. Okay, Wayne got your second. Awesome. Yeah, so I think Europe in particular is catching up fast. I think parts of Asia are too. I do hope Australia, New Zealand, I'm sure they will. They're not going to mess around now this time. I think the second time around they're going to get the vaccines pretty quick. Catch up. I think by fall, winter, we'll all be good to go. That's my prediction. Make a video on straw airbrush right now. Just got to keep your distance and pressure. All right. So we've got so this is the palette from Sunday. It's still good. I kept it in this little airtight guy. There's the old ones. Just want to show that to you. And then I gotta grab the tank. Okay, hold on. So we've got just, you can see this is all starting to dry out. We're gonna re-wet this here a little bit and get this kind of juiced up and ready to go. Getting these top little pieces of tape covering or whatever this is off sometimes is a pain. Okay, there we go. All right, get that out of the way. Okay. And so you can see here, actually let me grab that real quick. This is what we gonna be doing. Okay, we're gonna do that back on this guy. Again, I keep a little shit towel over my lap. Keeps my pants clean. It also catches stuff too if you drop stuff. I even use it when I assemble stuff. Okay, so we're gonna have to. So that's the turret we've been using for the other episodes. Put him over here. Oops. Mr. Leg, get out of the way. Okay, so here for right now, let me just do a quick discussion first. Little promo time. Got to pay the bills. So one of the things, if you guys, this is coming up, we're reprinting this one. Wasn't going to, but because I want to get all the books out there, we are going to reprint some of the early SM books, but it won't be a lot. So what we have, get on camera. I'm so funny with this stuff. Okay, so in SM03, it's this guy. This is a Sotheby custom. This is the Bandai 100. This is a brilliant kit, by the way. This kit's amazing, just utterly amazing. So these are the legs, they're right here. And so what I do is I come in here and the verbiage here is basically straight paint with some chipping using the hairspray chipping method to get kind of some wear and tear. And then strictly right into the OPR, the oil paint rendering. And the oil paint rendering, so the reason for that term is, the reason I added the rendering term to it, and I've written about this book, those of you know, but those of you new to this kind of idea, is basically the concept is to complete the entire weather. You are rendering out, just like a 3D render, you are finalizing the vision of that part. And that's the rendering part, just like an illustration term. It's the rendering, it's the full blown, and that comes from my design background. When we did renderings for industrial design, doing the cars, like you have to render the whole thing out. And then we get into 3D CAD and all that other stuff. That's kind of a newer thing, but it's the same term, and it means the same thing. So this is fully fleshed out. This is fully weathered. So I go from this to this with that little palette right there and some brushes, and that's basically it. So that's kind of, and these are the legs. This is them right there. They're still looking good. And the reason I'm showing you guys this today, because here's the love that this is the part that really, I think a lot of you, and even Martin, some of you out there, like I said, you're always trying to learn something. I think the one thing I think is a strong plus, a real bonus. This here, when you do this work, when you do the whole section, finish it out completely, put it aside, that's my map now for the rest of this model. So I can come into this leg, and we'll do it not in this stream, but we're gonna do the Dom legs, Dom Tropin legs here in another stream, but because we're gonna get back to the Hetzer. But that's gonna be something, if you're not familiar with it and haven't really grasped the power of what that means. And what I'm saying by this is I can do this in about an hour or so, give or take. Half hour to an hour, the whole thing, can get all the way down in here. And this is oil paint, it's dry. I'm touching it, it's dry. It's oil paint, I'm not messing anything up. There's no varnishes, there's no clear coats. This is paint, a little bit chipping in it, oil paints, that's it. Rock on. But this is my guide, this is my roadmap. And so now, this is 4 years old. I did this right, did I do this for Moses? I did this for Moses. Well, it's for the book, but I brought it to Moses. That was the first time I showed it. But that conversation about working a small section is the same thing. See, that's why you tape it. I just bumped that stupid thing. Thank God there's nothing in it. Okay, these are all loose right now. Just trying to show you guys. It's the Tamiya Hetzer. So, zoom back in. There, I actually zoomed in. Rust color, hairspray, Dunkelgelb, chipped, and then the OPR, that palette. In the hotel room at Moser, prepping for the demo. I did the exhaust system, and then on the demo, I did these panels right in here, and then I moved up over in here. I think on the second day, I moved up to the top. This is all from Moser in 2017, the seminar demo videos that they were doing or filming me, but you couldn't really see them. And so I've always kept this model, but all this work in here, over here, the exhaust system, that's all just OPR. That's all I did. And there's no varnishes, no clear coats, it's straight to paint. And I'll get to your comments here in a sec. And it's that concept to me, after doing this for a long, long time. You don't put that away, bro. You need that. That concept to me, after doing this a long time, it actually developed from doing seminars, doing demos, and trying to give you guys the full story in a 20 or 30 minute period of time. And so I learned that if I do the whole thing out and weather it and render it all the way through to the end, the road wheel, you can take that to the next road wheel the next day, and then a week later, then whatever, That is a permanent thing. Changed the game for me. Changed how I model completely. So anyway, let me answer some quick questions and we'll get going here. Here we go. Let me scroll back up a hair. I see your question, John. Relatable. Yeah, relatable. Send me some pics, buddy. Check out whatever you guys are doing. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Caught up. Plasma will build a cheaper. Yeah. Cheap airbrush stuff. The quality of kind of the base tools today has risen for sure, especially out of China. Their production quality values and all that kind of stuff is definitely elevated, which is benefiting us for stuff like you need a secondary or third kind of a tool. Yeah, small soldier. I'm gonna probably do an evening time next week and see how it goes. The problem for me is I've got a big pane of glass and a big pane of glass. By 6 p.m. my time, this room cooks, and my AC in the other room, I can't cool it down. I'm having trouble. It's already 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pushing 25, 26 degrees Celsius in here, and it's just gonna get hotter even as the sun shifts. I have to block this window over here off completely. It's hard because I can't get the room cool enough. So it's more of a summertime problem than anything else. But I will try, especially if we get kind of a cool day, which I think we're going to have a drop coming up. It's going to 90s and then down to 70s. So I might be able to. All my paints all my paints are matte. So if you add the poly gives you a satiny sheen thing, but I work from a matte surface, and that's probably the bigger difference between like and I think Adam and Martin and I will definitely have that conversation about sheens, about painting sheens, and a little bit more of a detailed conversation, which is good because there's various points of view in all of it. Zach Grizzle, what's up, brother? Yeah, no, it's fine, man. We all, I think that the fun part for me is I appreciate my position in this now. 9 years of Rinaldi Studio Press, and the response from these streams is overwhelming. You guys have been fantastic. But the community as a whole, I'm now on the Gunpla side and the military historical side. It's a large group of people, but I know COVID has been a benefit for us in that we have bonded together a little bit. I have seen it. I like that. Makes me happy. So yeah. Yeah, the Titans, right? Yeah. Yeah. The Titans are like a navy blue color scheme too, by the way, if you guys don't know. That's what the little comment there was. It is now, yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, JoJo. I didn't really like JoJo that much. Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing these as long as I can, man. Sweaty Balls is asking if I'll do this in the fall and winter. Portland winters are usually pretty mellow, but it does get dark way early, like 4:30 in the afternoon after the time shift, so it can get pretty. Yeah, we'll be doing some night streaming for sure. I'm gonna change up some times a little bit because I've noticed a few people. Yeah, it is all modeling. So Scott made a nice comment there at the end there. Amen, Mike. Break down the barriers between genres. It's almost one of the things I discovered. Because I'm a guy that does like multiple stuff. Like I like aircraft, trains, I do like it all. It's hard for me to stay focused. Like I'm the dude, like I have to stay on point, obviously, because I'm just chatting away here. I gotta stay on point. I like it all, but you find that, okay, so this was a comment I was thinking about the other day, and I know the guys out there that are leading that charge, like the black base scene with the aircraft. Aircraft guys are going through what armor guys went through about 10 years ago. So that explosion is happening. Gunpla community, the clean weather guys, they're going to start exploding too in terms of, various skills from guys like us coming in and providing additional information for weathering. But there's also some clean ideas I do have. There's some stuff I'm really, I haven't quite got to it yet, but I do want to share and get going with it for non-weathered builds. I get enough questions for, hey, how do you like lightly weather and all that other stuff too. So I'm just putting that thinner down, just pushing it down. So you have an older palette, a couple days old. Let me grab an old knife here. Got the hiccups. All right, so one little trick. So these are a little bit on the top part's dry, so slice through them. Put a little bit of thinner on this. You guys saw me do this in another stream, and I'm just cutting down to the fresh oil underneath. The top layer of oil kind of dries over, but this will last 3 or 4 days, no problem. Like that yellow's still nice and juicy. Some colors dry out faster. It is what it is. I don't sweat that too much. So Billy, if you're still out there, because there's a couple of dudes that are still pretty new to this, I don't mind repeating myself. It's all good. I know sometimes my production value is a little rough. It's out of focus. Yeah, dude, what are you doing? Sorry. Black dries pretty quick. Black and extreme colors tend to dry. Pure pigment colors tend to dry pretty fast, actually. Like the whites and the blacks and those kinds of things. So where am I going to put this guy here? Okay, just tape him down over here. Actually, you know what? Let me get rid of this dude. We can do it without. It's fun to play with. It's fun to work with that, but sometimes it's hard to stream. Go over that. What I do need is steal this guy. Hold on a second. Okay, need a second one here. Okay. jams, my friends. I need my Jimmy jams. I need my paper towel. Clean up here a little bit. This guy here. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm getting set up here. Just let me get comfy. Just take that down pretty good. That way you can kind of all see this. Tape. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the community. We love you guys. That's my train of thought. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's been great. This is we talked about the golden era for a while. I mean, with the kids, the 3D printing, all the stuff going on in everywhere. I think crossover is going to be a big deal. Genres, crossing genres. I think you're going to see a lot of that happening. I get a lot of hey, I'm an aircraft modeler, just trying armor. Vice versa, whatever. So. Yeah, so when you set these up, and I'm trying not to repeat myself all the time, but I know there's a few dudes that are new to this. Get your oils down on the cardboard. You see this dark circle? That's the linseed oil pulling out, because you want kind of a pasty paint of just a hint of oil in it. That makes it very workable. And then with the thinner is like the volume brush. So if you need to make a wash, you need to make a filter, you need to make just a pure oil for stain effect or whatever you're doing, you control it all with the thinner. These dudes here are all Jimmy jams. Everything's a Jimmy jam, brother. Sometimes it's these guys, sometimes it's the brushes. Yeah, my brain. Whatchamacallit, snizzle pie. It's all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so if you recall, and if I'm cutting off my conversation, please just remind me what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is all modeling. Yeah. So what we got here, let me get a little bit better on camera and zoom in a little bit. Okay, let's move this guy just a smidge. That's another term, smidge. In English, smidge is below tiny, which is below small in the hierarchy of size. So when I say it's a smidge, that's a really, really small amount. I wanted to show you guys real quick. So I'm just trying to keep the wheels. We're just gonna really just work on the wheels here a little bit. 15-20 minutes. So, paying the bills. Okay, so in El Bucos, this is the same basic chassis, which makes it really convenient that I have the Hetzer. So you've got the weathering in here that I'm talking about down in here, and the verbiage and everything going on. I'm giving you the gray boxes and stuff like that, or the how. That's the ABC. 1, 2, 3 equals 4, 5, 6. And then the orange stuff here in the commentary, if you're not familiar with the books, is kind of what's up in my noodle up here and what I'm thinking about. And that's kind of what this conversation is, very much the orange box conversations. What you're hearing in stream is really the orange box. But these processes are one-to-one. This is what I do. This is how I do it. There's nothing else going on. I've said this before. If you don't see me doing something or talk about it, then I'm not doing it, which means particularly the varnish conversation. I just usually don't, because what I find is the matte surface, I painted some strings down there. The matte surface of the paint, when airbrush right, which you saw earlier with the Gundam legs and stuff, gives you just enough of a bite and a tooth, and you want a little bit for diffusion. You want a little tooth to the paint with this kind of a process. I don't like satins and glosses because the oils just push around real messy, and you just don't really get a nice look like what you see here. If you've watched the last stream, that happened in about 5 minutes, and that was it. And then we started to work over here before I stopped. So it is really that fast. Love juice, all that stuff. So that is one of those things, man. I have my terms, right? No, so I hope this is all kind of hitting home a little bit. I know, like CJ, if you're still out there, and TJ, and even Martin, if you're doing this kind of stuff, it's just, I think for Rick, which was great, because some of those experience comments come in. When you come from pre-thin products, you have to shift your mental thing. And I should have said this earlier, and I don't think I've mentioned this yet. If you're going to try to learn somebody else's process, be honest to it and use integrity and learn the process as that person describes it, so you can master it or at least get comfortable with it, and then make your adjustments. Oftentimes I find with the kind of the male ego a little bit is we try to like outthink somebody else a little bit. You're going to have more success if you follow along with whatever it is. It doesn't have to be me or anything like that. And kind of absorb it. Get what they're doing, and then when you replicate it, don't try to interject other stuff to it because it's not being done. So be honest to that, and then you'll learn it a lot easier. And then you can, after that, modify it to your needs. And that's kind of what this is all about in terms of OPR. Like you can, it's totally modified, do all sorts of stuff. I need my eyeballs, friends. Here we go. Cannot see. So hopefully, I shut the F up. Okay, so get this guy. I don't need him probably. I only need probably 2 colors right now. Okay, so I've got my brushes, my working brush here with the color. I've wetted it up, and I'm gonna unload it on the paper towel. You're just in frame. You're getting all the little bits just in frame. Okay. This is just kind of prep. A little thinner in there. I'm gonna wipe it out. And notice when I wipe, I'm pulling and spinning, so it keeps that ship tart. That the snort. There you go. You're getting it all today, fellas. There you go. That's kind of it's kind of ready. Now I can put it into, you know, these are the palette here is a little bit dry because it's been a few days, so we got to go through and start. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have done this. Take your little eyedropper, because I forgot to do that part. I cut the little tops open, put a drop of thinner on each. That just kind of rejuices the oil, so your blending will go a little bit easier. And this is what you do for a palette you've had for a couple days. That's not what you do in the first few days. But because I haven't used it since Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days, I've cut the oils back open. And so I'm gonna make a mess here for a second. And this is to get the color flowing out of each oil. This will make blending, this will make the whole process go a lot easier. But this is what you have to do. This is OPR 101 in terms of using the palette after a few days. In stream 4, episode 4, I put the colors for this palette in that from the order of how it's in the video, like the orientation of the cardboard. So that's in the, I went back and added that for you guys. And I put all the links for the compressor. I put the links for all the airbrushes. That's all in the episode 4 description down below in the description. Yeah, and please like and share and all that kind of stuff, guys. That's how this all blows up pretty good. I got a long way to go to catch up to Martin. So if you guys don't like this shit, you better start smash the like button. So that's how this all goes. Yeah, algorithms on YouTube are huge. So that's a big deal, and I've got to do a little bit better job myself. So anyway, I'm just kind of prepping the palette. You can see once I start seeing a color flow out, I wipe it, clean it out. And you can see you're getting a little color. You're getting a little color over in the thinner. It's no big deal. That doesn't bother anything. And I just put a few little CCs in there just to use for the session. It's a very efficient process. In fact, so this is the old AK odorless thinner. That's the bottle I had in Mosin, 2017. Not that I've done a ton in between, but I did open a new bottle. I like the AK stuff. It works good. But like I said, any good quality odorless thinner will work. And the odorless thinner is a better thing. I mean, you can, especially if you have the skill sets, but I don't recommend the enamel thinners. They're more caustic. They don't blend as nice. It does make a difference. When I've tried to practice between the two of them to see if there is really like a difference, there is a difference. The odorless thinners are I like to call it much silkier. And you can feel it on the brush. You know, like the seat of your pants when you drive, you can feel that. Same with airbrushing. You can feel a lot of this. So anyway, okay. So we've got this look over here. Let me. So that's all dried paint on there. Nothing's going anywhere. So what I did is I just put a little bit of a wet coat with the thinner down, pure thinner. Let's put a little bit more dust. I wanted to pop the contrast on this and add a little bit more dust to the green wheel. Okay. Somebody's pissed. This is a really diffused kind of element to it. So this would be very much like a traditional wash. You see, guys, how that's flowing out like that? But I've kind of kept it down. Now, if you remember, these are loose, so I can spin this. But I want kind of I'm getting kind of working now I'm kind of storytelling right now. Kind of getting in a groove of, I've been looking at this for a while. I would typically have a reference or two around also, by the way. I like just to kind of keep me on point, you know, not get too carried away. Another thing I forgot to show last week was dust speckling. So because I've got a little bit of thinner down on the wheel like that, and you guys can kind of see these little dust speckles in here. Let's see if I can zoom. That's as close as it's gonna get. Okay. There it goes, okay. You can just see those little spots and stains? These are wet on wet, a little bit of thinner, a little bit of the dust color. And I got 3 little dust colors over here in the corner. I'm just kind of grabbing all 3 of them. I don't really care. I just don't. It's the colors I chose for this, and they kind of relate to the entire color scheme. So I know it's like, I've already done the thinking for that, which also makes this a lot easier. These are my dust colors. That's what I'm using. Boom, done. Okay. And I'm just adding little light dust speckles in here. And a little bit, and you can see that distance. This is exactly the same setup I have in the books. That's about 1 centimeter, and I angle this as my aim. So if I want, so I'm kind of aiming up to here, the top edge of the wheel. Boom, boom. And you're barely seeing that go down because there's a little bit of translucency to this right now. But when this dries, I'm getting really subtle little shifts in the dust, little specks, little spackles. And that point for that is now I'm building up that dust collection over the life of the vehicle. And that could be a week. It doesn't have to be like months in the field. You go out there, you wash your car on a Friday, by the next Friday, you're gonna have 5 days, if you drive all the time, you're gonna have all of that, and you know this, so it's just use all those kind of things. Yeah, so there you go, Martin's giving you a little extra, Mangers, that must be a European, I'm not familiar with that one. Works so well for our purpose. Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things is really focus on solutions that work for what we do. You know, the whole hardware store, art store conversation, yeah, some of the stuff really can work, but you know, like hairspray kind of cheats and we get away with it, but you know, the chipping fluids and everything else. So there's you know, work with what works for what the size and the manageability factor. Again, there's no smell. This evaporates almost immediately. And what I like to do, you guys all know, is get my little. Actually, let's just do it right here. Probably gonna... See how that evaporates? Look at the wheel. Just watch the wheel. So I get that. That's about 90% dry. I'm watching myself on camera. I love it. That's it, guys. Dude, that's what I do. I'm not doing anything else. It's that easy. So Martin, don't fuck up, brother. I love it. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming by. Okay, so I've got, see how this kind of dried down in here? That's what I'm talking about. I'm kind of starting to build up a little bit, like maybe as that rotated through, it got kind of caught up in a puddle or something. But this is, let's get a little, this is a clean brush. See how so that I would call that maybe damp, slightly below a moist, where you don't see the sheen of the liquid, but it's just, you can see that it's obviously not a dry brush. So what I'm gonna do here is, I'm holding the wheel steady. I'm gonna pull from the bottom upward. So this is on a type of shape like this. This is a little, the way you move the brush. And the reason is I'm recreating streaks in reverse a little bit. Does that make sense? Like I'm not pulling the color down, I'm wiping the color up. And that's great for road wheels, like this. So you get kind of this. And because it's still warm from the hairdryer, you can almost blow dry that a little bit. Now if I pull from the center down, so now I've put just a hint right in there of just that really soft fade of that bleed of the dust that you see in the car and the tires and everything like that. I'm out of here. That's it. No, I'm serious, but to be truthful, that's how simple this is. And so what I do is I just go through the whole thing and I start applying layer upon layer upon layer. And that really will build this up. I'm gonna keep going, don't worry, I'm not done. I just fuck with you guys. But yeah, got a little oil paint on my tape. I spend half the day cleaning up my workbench after I make a mess with all this stuff. We not missing anything here? Question: when your paintbrush points start to curl, do you trim them with scissors? Okay, Sylvain. So what I do is, this one's getting a little bit long in the tooth. So just when you're done with your session, let me zoom back out. Sorry, let's see this. Okay, so when you're, when you're done with your sessions, this up here, got a little splatter. Okay. Trying to keep everything nice and. So I come in. So this is, I'm cleaning the brush, Sylvain, and I'm rolling it. I'm spinning it. See that? Spinning my fingers. So now I'll put it away just like that. I've pulled most of the thinner out. It'll evaporate out. And then what I do is I store them handle up, bristle up. I don't lay them down. I use, well, sometimes I store flat, but if you want to keep them long term, off camera, yeah, store them vertical like this. Like I've got my little bin of stuff over there you saw earlier. All my brushes are vertical. Don't ever store your brushes tip down, that whole thing. So we've got enough dust and dirt on there to tell that story a little bit for you guys. You get the gist. You get the vibe. We used to say gist back in my day. So I've got some dark black. Dark black. Is it like, yeah, bright white. It's we know white's bright, dude. We got it. So I'm mixing black and some raw umber or burnt umber. Burnt umber is the brown one. I always raw umber, burnt umber. Raw umber is your really dark shade. But I want a little bit more of an oil grease tone. So I've got black with a little bit of burnt umber. It's a little bit darker than the raw umber with a hint of black to it. So there you go. Let's see if I can get that. Focus, do it. No, faster. There you go. See that? See how it's wet, but it's not too juicy? This kind of stuff, this is the stuff you guys really should, this is what you want to really get into. I'm sorry, I'm missing a few of the comments in there. I see some fresh names too. So now I'm just coming down to the bolts. This will be my little juice love. There you go. Little love juice, whatever it is. Now I don't do all of them. Oops, sorry guys. My bad. Anyway, there you go. So that's a wet pin wash, if you will. And this is what the rendering part's all about, is that you're incorporating all the traditional techniques. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just trying to encompass it under that name, because that way you sit on this section, in this case it's the road wheel or whatever, the hatches or whatever, and you get it all done. You render the whole thing out. You don't worry about anything else. Same thing with the legs. Just get that joint all done and then move over. And then that way you tell the whole story. You see what happens. You see how it's gonna look when it's done. It's all done in about an hour, half hour to an hour, maybe 2, 3. If you really jazz, you can do the whole thing. You know, if you're really pushing, you can just go. It's fine, no big deal. But I'm just saying, we're all busy, so an hour here, a half hour here, pull the palette out, sit down, do this, move on to the next one. And the oils are forgiving. Obviously, while I'm talking, they're just sitting there, and nothing's going on. So, and I'm just going center out, and kind of that, as I rotate up, I'm changing the angle a little bit. It's so warm that'll dry so fast. So, and if some of those, see how some of those are just a hair hard or sharp? Come in here. I can't see. I gotta get down. Excuse me while I get down here, boys and girls. Hold on. So I'm checking that. Can you all see that? Okay. Yeah, so I'm, see that on my finger? Testing that out. And I'm gonna soften some of these streaks. And usually the lamp's right down on me. Oh, by the way, and I should comment, the light I'm using, the table, the brushes, the paints, everything's exactly what you see in the book. I edit from this light above me, and I edit through Photoshop for the white to get rid of the background white. This is it. I adjust colors so that they're consistent kind of. Sometimes you'll get a slight shift. And I photograph at night. And we'll do a photography powwow one day. So I'm just kind of redoing those streaks a little bit, just to soften them up. Sometimes you guys will put a streak down if I'm gonna be a little bit critical. See how that one's kind of just fighting me a little bit? It's okay. Kind of get them right. When you put your streaks down, they're one of the more important elements on the surface. So do spend a little bit extra time to make sure that streak is nicely blended out. Don't just slop it down there and just let it dry. Most of the time it just doesn't look like this, and artistically you're gonna get a little bit better vibe if you kind of blend it out properly. If you're using references and that's what it is, that's totally fine, but just in general, when you're blending streaks, whether it's enamel or oils or even acrylics, you know, spend a little bit extra time in your streaks, because I see if there's a weakness across the community, it's the streaking's a little bit rough, and they're a little bit large. So that's just adding a little, there you go, there's a little bit of a grease leak on the hub, boom, done, you know. I don't have light black, Zach. If I, in colors like that, I've got a lighter tone over here, I'll just mix it, I mix it on the fly. A lot of colors, and the reason this palette is like this, so I've got my, let me zoom back out, quick color recap. Okay, so I have a base Dunkelgelb, I've got a little green, got a little red primer. All these colors kind of exist on the palette, it's all you gotta do. And then there's some dirty, greasy, grimy colors, that's it. It's as simple as that. But anyway, let me catch up here. Richard Craig, I did see your name, hello, welcome. Adamantium. Yeah, I have played with some older, is it Alan? Alan was the name, some of the old Alan armor kits. Somebody did, on Instagram the other day, not the other day, but he's been working on it for a while. He did the, I think the Panzer 1 or Panzer 2F, the little chunky one, the Recon one. The Allen kit, did it up. I'm like, dude, bro, you're killing it. I think there's a new one, right? It's the Flyhawk makes them. Flyhawk makes the 72nd, but the 35th scale one was nice. I played with those Allen kits, they were pretty tough. Or RPM, I think it's Polish too. Some of the old days. You have to earn your stripes, my friends. The only kit I've ever thrown away, the only one that ever beat me, RPM, it's the Ford, it kind of looks like the World War I, I forget which Model T it was. It was the scout car with the French style camo that was hard edge with the black outlines on it. The gap between the hood, like nothing would fit. Like the gap was, I mean, it was this big and the gap was like that big. I'm like, whoa, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, you guys are going through on the techniques and stuff, so you're good on that. Yeah, product. Yeah, a lot of you guys know better products too. For Rick's talking about a brush cleaner, small soldier using oils or acrylic. Are you small soldier? You talking to me? This is all oils right now. This is the OPR. And again, if you guys aren't familiar, you can actually go back to the first couple episodes, and I spend more time talking about all this. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up here in a few minutes. I'm starving, fucking starving. Is there any question? Okay, Gareth Lewis, welcome. When do you know when to stop with the weathering? That's a great question. It's actually one of the harder questions to do. Sometimes you kind of don't. Sometimes you overdo it. Like I say, a lot of times, and this goes to even the Gundam dudes, and where your science fiction is you gotta have a baseline reference. So I'm experienced enough to do this demo for sure. I totally get this. But I spend a lot of time digging through the photo archives, whether it's a book, whether it's online. Get a baseline study, and we talked about this a little bit. You get a baseline study of the subject you're working in. And then, because oftentimes, especially World War II, you're not always gonna find your vehicle per se. I have no problem looking at a twin engine night fighter if I'm doing a single engine night fighter. Or if I'm looking at a Panzer III and a Panzer IV for Panther reference, for weathering and stuff, and grease and grime and things of that nature. You know, how do they load up the vehicles with stowage? You know, the crews. Look, you can look at other stuff and apply it to what you're doing. I do this with Churchill's a lot, because Churchill reference, even though we have a couple of good big books, you just don't have the heavyweight ground powers and Octum Panzers of Churchill books. You just don't have it. Nobody's really cared enough to put that together because it's a low interest subject per se. But Panthers and Tigers, there's a billion of them, so all that's good. And you combine that into your story, and you kind of say, okay, this is what I want my dude to look like. And that's kind of how I play with this. And I think Martin, you're probably not far from that either. You get a couple good choice photos as your guide, and then you kind of say, okay, well, this happened, but here's my main, and that's what I'm looking at, this is what I'm doing. And I think, he's in the chat, guys. He does it all the time. He shows you that he did the little sandbaggy Jimmy rigs the other day with the blue sandbags, and he's, making funnies about it, but you find the photo. So to everybody out there, your heart of this storytelling, and those that come from Gunpla, you saw the contest we did recently, and the weather contest, and for the Gundams, and you always heard me say storytelling. Weathering, to me, my definition of weathering is the life of the vehicle. You're showcasing to your viewer the life of this vehicle, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's a train, a race car, it doesn't matter if you've gone through Le Mans, whatever it is. There's the life of that vehicle over a period of time from point A to point B. You're showing point B, however it got there. So dust happens over the minute this thing drives off the pavement into the dirt field, it's getting dusty. And then the dew and the moisture is going to reset the colors a little bit. Next day, more dust, more dirt, splashes of mud, puddles, here, this. It all adds up. That's the story of the vehicle. That's storytelling. That's what all this is right here. We've got a leaky maintenance hub right here. I know from studying Panzer 38 chassis that these things leak like crazy. World War I tanks, or Char B1 bis. The end of the pre-war into World War II, the French Char B1 bis. Those tracks are oiled a certain way, and the tank stops at night. All that grease just rolls down the side of the tanks. And so knowing these kind of things from your references, huge. Like if you want to get good at this, you have to get good at that. So source material. Okay, you guys are talking products. So Garrett, that's going to be your barometer. From there, it's going to be like, when you know too much is too much. You kind of know. I think truth be told, we kind of all know. And I, you see me looking over here. I don't know if you guys can see this. That's you can't see. Yeah, that's the Morrison. That's MLK, Rick. Some of you guys are here in Portland with me. Weatherly building behind me. So yeah, I'm always looking over here. You know why? Because we have freight trucks and train lines go through all the time. So I get to see the tops of the container trucks that comes off the boat. So I get to see what they look like because you never see the top of stuff. So I'm always looking, and so you have to be that way, Gareth, because that builds your baseline of information, like what's going on, how does this all happen. Then you kind of just start putting the pieces together. So like for here, there's no robot walking leg thing I can look at to figure out how greasy or grimy this is. I'm kind of going by instinct. I'm going by military weathering. But what I did here is exactly what I did there. A little speckling into oils, a little streaking it down, boom, done. My little chipping in there and gave me kind of where to put the stuff, boom, done. And we'll do I think we'll do chipping really soon, but like full blown. We'll get crazy. We'll get cray. Because we have to show some troubleshooting with the hairspray. I know some of y'all have opinions on that, but yeah. Streaking's what you struggle with, Mike? Okay, I'm trying to, yeah. So this is to the comment on technique. You guys struggle with this stuff. So this is why, brushes that are similar to this work really well. I have some rakes. The flat brushes are called rakes, more or less. They have them as like an angled rake where they're chopped up at an angle. But see how it does that here. Come on, probably too close. I think my phone's giving up the ghost. No, that's because, there we go. Okay. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so this is the flat rake. It's getting a little bit on the old. You can see how the brushes are getting a little bit on the old side. It's okay. All these brushes are $4 or $5 a piece, and they'll last 3 or 4 models, no problem. So just keeping a sharp tip, Mike, and study when you guys go back how much liquid when I stop and show you the liquid on the brush. Pause the video, look at it, and try to replicate that. Learn through replication in terms of that conversation. It's a really, really good way to kind of get your game up a little bit. And again, this is a test model for me. I strongly, highly, completely recommend whatever adjective I can add to that. Do this process. Get something that's similar to what you like to do. Get a cheap version. It doesn't even matter the brand. Don't effing care. Get an old Tamiya KV1, and then when you get your trumpeter KV1 project and it's dialed in with photo etch and all you're doing your atom stuff and your Martin, all your copper and brass, and you're welding the whole effing thing up ready to put in the fuel and go. You've spent the time on that Tamiya one cutting your teeth, getting your stuff in line, because we're not all these guys, the whole thing. So you guys, that's how you learn. It's the same thing of if you're practicing, at the target range to get better. If you're at the golf range, you're hitting bucket of ball after bucket of ball after bucket. You think, all the stuff that we hear from like Tiger and Michael Jordan, it all applies. All of it. Practice, test. Get that ingrained into your head. Especially if you're doing competition work where you're coming up through the ranks. You're like, say you get a highly commended or a bronze or a third place, but I want that silver or gold. You have to do this process. If you don't put in the time, it won't happen. Promise you that. There's very few out there with just pure skills to do it. Thank you, man. Yeah, no, it's storytelling is the heart of weathering. You connect the dots in storytelling, your viewers will see it, it'll resonate. It's a very authentic, to use that cliche. So TKS, on the top of looking at the truck thing, machinery like diggers, bulldozers have never been so, yeah, exactly. My phone's full of shit. People that know me, like here locally, oh yeah, like a Jeep rolls by and it stops, and the dude's been like off-roading, and like how that tire looks, because you got the rock scrapes and chips and the dust embedded in the rubber. We'll do tires soon, next Sunday, I promise. I've got it all set up, I just didn't get to it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are feeling that. Rick is confirming I'm not an idiot. I appreciate that. Yeah, and so let's wrap this up a little bit. If you guys have final questions, put them in, because I'm hungry, mofo. It's growling. And I'm glad we got, let's pull this up real quick. Imitation, let's talk about this for a second, guys. What Rick mentioned there in chat about imitation, because I'm gonna describe a story to you, and I meant to tell you this the other day because it's relevant, and I will pull up the article. I touched the part to zoom in. I'm just the best. Okay. Let's just take a look at this. Just let us see. Yeah. So that blue's still a little bit on the pale side for me. Maybe in the other regular light it's not so bad, but I just want to show you. These are all super dry. It's a little bit matte. Those are ready to go. So I would weather right on that, straight on that. Boom, done. Let's go. And we'll show that. We'll show that in the future for sure. But imitation. Okay, so years ago, my pen wash wasn't the best. I knew it. I was struggling. Good friend of mine now, and I mean literally we are friends. We pen pal all the time. Mario Eanes from Belgium. I think one of the world's best modelers. You know, just amazing dude. He wrote some articles, I think, in the Tamiya Model magazine on a Stug B in winter, and it's one of the reasons I developed my winter Stugs. But I replicated and imitated his pen wash process, what he described in the book, and that was kind of one of the things that I knew. Okay, I got to get better here. Like I targeted this, and I worked on it, but I didn't. I copied him on a project to kind of learn, and I've done this like with Mig's work too a little bit. I think on my first chipping exercise with the Martyr 3, I just kind of replicated a worn winter Martyr 3 that Mig had done. It's on the cover of the tarpaulin part, the little resin tarp for the Martyr 3 that he was selling at the time. I just replicated because sometimes when you imitate a little bit, you can kind of move up a little bit, and then you start adding your signature style back in. You don't want to copy people all over the place, but you want to develop your skills from, because you're going to copy me doing this if you're learning. That's fine. And then you start putting your references, your story with your project, and this flows into your signature style. And this is what we're talking about. Rick's got a style, Martin's got a style, I've got a style, Adam, all these dudes, all these Franz, if he's still out there, brother. When you see a Franz model, his Gundams, his clean gun, you can actually tell they're his. He's got a signature style, signature color choices. This all matters, all makes a big difference. So that's what Rick's alluding to in the chat. This is how you develop. If you're in the early days, find something that you're struggling with, and then target a modeler who's really good at it. Just kind of follow them for a little bit. It's okay. And then move on to your stuff. That's how you do that, so you don't become a copycat dude with that in that conversation. Yeah, more references pics, the faster you learn. Yeah, see, Martin's, look at, I don't have to say nothing. Just read Martin. But this is true. You have to have your references. You have to, if you want to get next level shit, all of you out there. And it doesn't have to be more than a couple choice images, and then you just build up your backlog of stuff of just, okay, you know. And I've got, like, I know where my books are and everything. Like if I need a Normandy reference, you know, if I'm doing a Sherman or something in Normandy or Cromwell, I showed you guys the Cromwell project. You know, I can't wait to actually get to, I haven't done OD in a while, or SEC 15 in a long time. Excited to kind of do that. We'll do some Panzer Gray stuff too, and we'll hit all the heavyweights. We'll do red for Gunpla. I have some great ideas for Gunpla in terms of like the strong colors, like reds, like a Sotheby red, or, you know, Char's red, in how to weather that out, or the Zaku Warrior red and stuff like that. Yellows, I want to play with yellows. They're a lot of fun to play. Yellows are a really forgiving spectrum of blues and greens and orange and reds is through yellows. And I'll talk about color theory. We'll get into that. I'm professionally trained, dude. We get all that. But yeah, they are the best of friends. References are your buds. Small Soldier asked, Mike, have you experimented with using sanding sticks? Yes, I have, before using hairspray. In fact, I used X-Acto knife. Did this a long time ago. It actually works pretty good. It's just, you're like, dude, it's, first off, it's super tedious. You can edge scrape with blades and chips and stuff. It's kind of the same idea. If you guys can see that, is that in focus? I'm a bad cameraman today. I think it's because I'm hungry. There it goes. There it is a little bit. So I'm just scraping the edge. So I've played with most of the what we call the reductive chipping techniques. Even played with the Marmite conversation back in the day. But yeah, I have actually. It's fun. I just find, okay, so again, so we're all clear. I think everybody understands my principles is I'm solution based. And what I mean by that is I'm looking for, so I have an end game. Comes to the reference conversation. I'm putting all these together in my head long term. I'm, even if a project down the road, got a photo. And it also saves shit. If you you're gonna do a Tomcat, but you're on your F4 right now, you come by, always save stuff, dude. Instagram, you can put collections on the back end. You can save everything. It's awesome. Facebook's a little bit tougher, but download this stuff. It's fucking whatever. It's easy. Storytelling. You got your kit. Pick out your kit, and everybody can help you with all that stuff. And then you move into the project. That's what I was going. I was solution. Sorry. So for chipping, you have all your various. You have additive chips and you have reductive chips. And I just find I like to play solution based. My goal, personal goal, is just I want a more realistic chip. It's all the reason why. So I love sponge chipping. I do like hand chipping, Martin. I'm with you, brother. I do like that. It is tedious. It is a long-term tedious thing, especially when you're doing it over and over and over and over again. So the hairspray to me, it came along from Phil Strasinkas, 2007. Life is timing. I was at the show. That model changed my world. And as you've all seen, I've written about it many times. So yeah, he's exact. Yeah, see, Martin remembers the E25. I don't know how to share photos. I gotta get smarter with StreamYard. I'll put up my photo time's down. I stopped paying for it. Whatever. But yeah, I'll share some stuff. I should have some a little bit more. Yeah, the E25 was that actually was really fun. It just took forever. Oh my gosh. So yeah, if you're gonna scrape or chip or scuff stuff that's pre-painted, and we did episode 4 last week, we did a little bit of just the water erasability without hairspray on the mission models. Go back and rewatch the end of episode 4. That's a good little thing, and we didn't get very far today with that, but we'll do all that. We'll do chipping soon. Yeah, sanding sticks can be okay. So everything's risk reward. So you're using a sponge sometimes, quote unquote. A modeler's using a sponge because it's a very low risk. It's a fairly low risk scenario. You're using hairspray or a reductive technique where you're pulling the top paint off. It's a much higher risk, but the reward's also much higher because it's how it happens in real life. So we're replicating that in miniature. So that whole thing is really kind of a key to developing your style. As you get more comfortable, you're going to start taking more risks because you understand the chemical principles at work here. And so hopefully that's kind of, as you guys are coming up here, you learn, like Mike, you're in the chat, like I know where you're at and you're learning through. It's risk reward. It's going to be a lot of this. That's why you have a test model, because you can take a lot more risk with this to learn when you F up. Oh, there's the edge of that envelope. You're pushing the envelope. Test pilot stuff. But anyway, I hope that's kind of purchase some Winsor Newton oil, do some dot filter and Panzer Gray. We want to see what kind of results. Yeah, for sure, Mike. Absolutely. Yeah, and again, real basic before we sign off here. Contrast tones. If you have an olive drab, a Panzer Gray, NATO, and I've said this before, your light dust tones give you beautiful contrast, just like the green wheel here. I can go much darker on the lighter color wheel and just build a simple contrast. So if you're playing in a dark base color, you have opportunities for contrast. And same thing with the light tones, you have opportunities for contrast. There's chances of tone on tone. The desert scenarios are obviously the tone on tones, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of, so you guys are talking about a lot of little tips and tricks of just, standing, you can polish the edges. And if you're polishing an edge too, cut it down, maybe the final step you do, touch of graphite, little pencil, boom, done. Yeah, so there we go. This is great. We'll subscribe to the channel. Please share if you can. Kodo Kai, hey, what's up, Brian? There he is. There's my boy. There's some Gunpla in here. Yeah, I watched you guys last night. You guys are getting deep. Getting some deep combos going. Kodo Kai. Kodo Kai is a nice Gunpla streamer too. And I back up, Brian. I apologize. He's an all-around modeler. He's going to be at MosquitoCon. So East Coast, end of the month, MosquitoCon. I think, Brian, you're going to be pulling in some aircraft, doing some Edward Spitfire, I think you're doing, and you're doing a 30-second Hasegawa 109 plus some Gundams. A great all-arounder, if you will, a bro builder on Instagram. Yeah, so there you go, guys. Any last questions? Every project has a risk in my hands, pal. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, same here. But yeah, so that's it. Martin, please, thank you for coming by. I hope you heal well and fast. We will talk soon. Look forward. I haven't talked to Adam a long time. It's been years since the last time we talked, but yeah. So we got some priming done, got some airbrushing done. rewatch the streams to kind of, you know, zip through those. I'll put the timestamps later on, probably tonight or tomorrow, so you can scrub past to the spots. A lot of talking today, but overall, no problems. Everything went smooth. Thank you for coming in and hanging out. It's Wednesday afternoon. I'll announce the time for Sunday. Right now, expect 12 o'clock, but I might shift it. But I'll give you guys a heads up, you know, a good warning on if I'll post on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, you got the Calamity kit, the resin Regal. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Yeah, Luca Calamity. If you guys don't know who Calamity is as a mecha designer and as a resin kit manufacturer, he's done some stuff through Industrial Mechanica a while back. Now he does his own line of resin kits. Well, he's always done it, but he's done them more. So, but cheers to everybody. Thank you for coming in. We will talk soon. Another great stream. Thank you, Martin Ross. I appreciate that. Again, everybody stop by. Some fun names to see in this, and I didn't get it. I admit I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but tons more to do. I'm gonna do some in between work too on the Gundams and stuff and get painting. So, but anyway, everybody have a great day. I'm gonna sign off. 2:30 here in Portland, Oregon. No, you're fine. Super Dry Beef. Just go back and check it out. Mini Mall Paint. Yeah, you're welcome, Matt. Say good night to everybody. Thank you. You the best, Bri. You the best. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Good stream today. Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking to you guys, and it looked like it was flowing pretty good. We've been kind of lucky with that. There's been no trolls or anything coming through, so we're good. You're welcome, guys. Sylvain, have a great night. I appreciate it. If you're NBA Finals guy, you know, pick your teams. What do we got? Bucks versus Suns. Don't like either of them. What am I supposed to do? But anyway, I'm gonna go watch the tour and have some lunch, catch up on my Tour de France, and we'll see you guys Sunday. Take care. Bye.